This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Fernando's going to hand the ball off. Here's the snap. The handoff goes to Nowakowski. He dives his way to the end zone. Touchdown! Indiana scores and takes the lead at 9-0. Here's the snap back. Fletcher gets the call, tries to skirt outside and does. He breaks it. He is down the field. He's going to score. A 57-yard by Mark Fletcher Jr. And all of a sudden, Miami right back in this football game in a big way, and momentum has swung pretty dramatically here to start the second half. Back to do the punting is Dylan Joyce. Back around his own 2 to take the snap. And it's back to him. And the punt is on. Oh, it's blocked!
Oh, that's huge.
Blocks it. It is picked up. Touchdown, Indiana! Isaiah Jones! And Indiana comes up with a tremendous play, but Kyle Kamara got the block on the kick.
Blocked! Indiana blocks the punt and falls on it for a touchdown!
Here is Beck under center, gets the snap, fakes the handoff, gives it to Fletcher, just walks into the end zone, jogs in, I should say. Mendoza ready to take the snap. He takes it. He looks. He throws the football. And
he runs it.
No, he runs it. And he ties for the end zone. Does he get it in? Touchdown! Fernando Mendoza runs the football and scores.
He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
Fletcher to his right, hits the snap, and there is an end-around play, and they've got Tony again running it for the end zone, touchdown. Here's the snapback. Beck looks, throws it down the field, and it is intercepted by Indiana. Wow, what a play! And it is Jamari Sharp who comes up with a pick.
Beck steps up, delivers downfield, intercepted! Jamari Sharp makes the pick that will clinch Indiana's first national championship.
It took a lot to get here, but I'll tell you what it took to come out ahead in this game was a lot of guts. I give Miami a lot of credit. They played really hard. We couldn't get anything done couldn't protect quarterback at all. Made a few plays and adjustments, but they were back shoulders and a sprint out, got the ball, run game going. Made the interception when we had to.
I mean, there's no better group of guys I want to deal with. It's the most special moment of my life. There's such a great group of guys. I love you guys. Great job. Let's go!
He's so tough. I mean, he got hit. He had no time. He keeps getting back up. And just a great competitor. And there's no way this gets done without that kind of performance at that position. And I can't say enough great things about him. We won the national championship at Indiana University. It can be done. Best fans in America, I know what cheer you like the best. Did you ever think this was possible? On 3, 1, 2, 3. Hoosiers?
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around.
The Indiana Hoosiers are your national champions in college football with a perfect 16-0 record. Good morning, Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Mark Dykton. Great job again. They finished it off 16-0. They do it with dramatic plays. They get a blocked punt. They get an amazing, I'm going to will myself into the end zone touchdown run from Fernando Mendoza. They get another interception late. They do all the things that somehow they've done all year long without the overwhelming statistics all the time. They continue to just win football games against any team of any ranking, anywhere, anytime, any place. I don't even know what else to say, Kevin Bowen.
Mark Dykton, great work on the intro that was championship-like. I have a feeling that might be downloaded a couple times here on this Tuesday morning. It's the greatest story in college football, and it is complete. And last night was, I thought, really just a great microcosm of their story. You will put the Mendoza effort, first off the call to go for it, the blocking, the effort. You'll put that right up there with Keith Smart, right up there with Christian Watford. Perhaps for some people atop the list. And it's just amazing. Jeff, I would have thought previously that you on your Schwinn bike had a better chance to win the Tour de France than Indiana football had to win the national championship, and yet here we are. And I love that Cignetti broke stride there post game. He was going full coach speak, and then he broke stride of it can be done. And like those, what is that? 4 words. To me, Curt Cignetti is an unbelievable X and O's coach, unbelievable player developer. But maybe his best attribute was sensing that the mindset needed to be changed and sensing it as soon as he stepped foot on campus, whatever that was, 24 months ago. And I thought that quote was really just kind of sums up his entire project, if you will. He knew it from day one. As soon as he was there, he hated what he was feeling. And the mindset changed, and it's one of the greatest stories in sports history.
It's insane. And James, I've been listening to ESPN radio on the way in this morning, and the morning crew there is talking about this amazing story. And they're trying to figure out what do you even compare it to? And people are calling up and they're talking about the Olympic hockey team in 1980. They're talking about Buster Douglas. People can't. We've been watching all year long. How do you wrap your brain around what this program has done in 24 months' time?
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around any of it because for a lot of people, it might not seem real. A lot of people probably haven't gone to sleep yet if you're down there in Bloomington.
Are they alive?
If they're still.
Is that kid still in the Jimmy John sign? Did he ever jump down?
But I think what really struck me was after the game, Tyrese Halliburton tweeting out, "A state has never deserved something more. Congrats, Indiana football." And the reason why it struck me so hard was because if there were something to be compared to this moment, it would be had the Pacers won Game 7. And knowing how improbable that run was. So what an incredible feat, incredible finisher. It was definitely great drama there at the end of the game. But one of the other takeaways I've had, you all, is the people who keep saying, well, it can be done at your school too. I don't want to go that far because it is possible in theory, but I think that kind of diminishes to a degree how special Curt Cignetti is, how special this group is, because yeah, I can go out there if I'm an Illinois grad and hope that Brett Bielema and crew can recruit the right players and give us a chance and all that. But man, don't get too caught up thinking you're what we just witnessed. 16-0, first team to do that since the 1800s with Yale. That is not something that you can just replicate because you have NIL now and the transfer portal. You had to find the right guy with the right vision, with the right players to get it done. And even then, this wasn't like they blew out Miami and just cakewalked their way to a championship. It took a lot of grit. And shout out to Fernando Mendoza. I know he won the Heisman, but he had a Heisman moment there on that diving touchdown.
Talk to me, Kevin, about that diving touchdown. I this morning, my wife often wakes up early, like 4:30 early. And I had gotten about an hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep finally, and I come downstairs, and my wife is sitting on the couch watching the second half again. And she's on her phone, and she's saying, look at this angle of the Mendoza touchdown run. My wife's a big sports fan, but we went to one Indiana game this year, and she kind of became a fan there, so she's not like a long dyed-in-the-wool fan, but she enjoys sports and she enjoys the story. She loves Fernando Mendoza. She loves Curt Cignetti. And it's that guys like us, we're obviously going to be captured by this. This is what we do. This team has captured the people that kind of like sport, or my wife loves sports, but they're just this story, this group, this whatever you want to call it. It's different, and everybody wants to be a part of it, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, I got some Andrew Luck Superman vibes on that play from Fernando Mendoza. The angle that the ESPN camera initially had, when he gets hit there at the goal line, the first thing I said to Maddie was, I go, did he hold on to it? That was my first thought, just because he had, Cignetti didn't beat around the bush. I mean, he was battered, bruised. I thought several times he could have been flagged, frankly, for hits against him. And again, I go back to the call because, look back on the first half last night. Cignetti, for as brash as he is, I would rather say he's a little bit more of a conservative in-game coach. There at the end of the first half, I was very confused why they didn't try to go get points there.
Yes.
But on that drive, not only is the 4th and 5 call that obviously is the play of the game, but the Charlie Becker back shoulder from earlier in that drive there. So again, it's the call, it's the fact that here's Mendoza, who's been hit the most he's probably been hit in certainly any game as a member of the Indiana Hoosiers, and for him to show the toughness to absorb the hit and still go. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to get the first down and, live to see another down. He then still has the effort like it's 4th and goal with 30 seconds to go, and they're down 4. It's just another feather in his cap of there's a lot more there than just the guy that says words that, I guess Mark had to bleep one out today, but the guy that says words that I'm not really sure if they're in the dictionary. I think the other play, if I can mention it, that is in just such an perfect microcosm of the Indiana Hoosiers is the block punt.
Yes.
Because on that play, it was 4th and 1, and Indiana left their defense out on the field. And you sometimes see this, hey, just in case, if they're going to do something here, we want our starting defense out there. And oftentimes what you see is the defense just, frankly, not really try on the punt. It's like, hey, don't go off sides. Let them punt it away.
Yeah, don't rough the kicker.
This dude will fair catch it behind us. We'll have great field position.
Right.
But that is a All-American in Mikhail Kamara busting his you-know-what and taking advantage of a Miami player half-assing it. And to me, that almost sums up the Indiana story more than anything. Of in this quiet mid-third quarter moment, we're going to make sure that every play could be the difference maker. And, Kamara had just been on the field for the previous few plays. He easily could have just gone hands on the hips there. And to James's point, you don't go off sides, you don't rough the punter, nothing like that. But no, he tries to create havoc. And he does that in that moment there. I don't know if Indiana wins the game without that play. Yeah. Miami, I thought, had started to really kind of insert their will. So, again, the Mendoza play is the watch shot. It is key smart. It's all of that. But I don't want to lose sight of that block punt because I thought it was so fitting for what this season has been about.
It was amazing, as was the entire season, as was... Hey, look, they gave us entertainment last night, James. I don't know about you, but I was up pacing and on the edge of my seat the entire football game. I mean, there was drama last night all night long.
Yeah, and it tightened up there at the end, but I figured at some point the mistakes Miami had made would come back to bite them. And it goes back to what Kevin has been saying the last couple of weeks. The more disciplined team won. And you go back to the margins in that game, which is what this game was won on. It was won on margins. Miami, just too many mental errors in a game where you couldn't have that many.
Well, not enough firepower for Miami to overcome what was just an amazing defense all year long. I want to point this out again, Kevin. We had talked about this leading up to it. But if you go down the entire roster of opponents that Indiana played all year long, you will only find 4 games in which the opposing team, in today's college football, 4 teams that scored 20 or more points, and nobody scored more than 24 against this team all season long. In today's 2025 college football, now 2026 college football, and the firepower and the way offenses go, you don't see that anymore. That's historically good.
Yeah, and it was kind of a sneaky thing at the time, but I was a little surprised on that final drive when Curt Cignetti took his last time out. I don't think Miami had maybe struck the ultimate fear into the opponent of like, sometimes in the NFL, you're like, oh yeah, they're going to score and we just hope we have enough time left. But when Cignetti took that last time out, he pretty much surrendered his offense having a chance to do something if Miami had scored there. That was their last time out. But in that moment, it allowed everybody on that defense to reset. And that allows your pass rush to reset. That allows your defensive backs to reset. And, who knows how Carson Beck was feeling after that hit on that final drive. I saw he had some comments after the game. But, Beck was going to Beck at some point. And I thought Brian Haynes, that was the general premise of their game plan all night long. We're gonna mostly drop 8, mostly drop 7, I should say, sometimes 8, and we're gonna make him beat us. And in that moment, a la, I guess maybe a little bit of the Caleb Williams from Sunday night. Let's see if this guy can have the moxie to not take that shot there. And obviously the Jamari Sharp interception, and the rest is history right there. So yeah, boy, just freaking absurd. And boy, I hope everyone's safe in Bloomington because that That party looked like it had no signs of stopping there. No signs of stopping
And
there.
we're going to call and check, just a welfare check on JMV later tonight, who texted us all about an hour after the game last night, said, I'm going out and having fun.
Did I see Fernando Mendoza in Club 11 down there in Miami?
I'm not familiar with Club 11, but you can tell us more about that in a minute.
To where he needs to be.
One more thing before we break here that I did want to point out. The timeout that Cignetti took at the very end of the game, making sure, taking another timeout and making sure that you go for it from the 12-yard line on 4th down, and what was it, 4 or 5 before Fernando Mendoza makes that run? What does that say about Kirk Cignetti and the belief that he had in his football team? Gathers the defense together, Kevin, and says, guys, take a deep breath. We're going to win this football game right now. He tells his offense, guys, we got to play. We're going to win this football game with this play. We're going to do it right now. The demonstrably overwhelming confidence he has in his players is on display at all times, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, everything he touches turns to gold. And in true Cignetti fashion, he says after the game last night, yeah, we'll take Tuesday off, and then we'll get back to work on Wednesday. It's like, man, just enjoy it. Have more than just the Hoosier Game Day lager from Upland.
I love it. I could see you dancing in your living room in the candy striped pants last night, James.
It was a great vibe.
All right, Mark, again, great job this morning on that, as always. We'll check it down and give you some more info on the game and everything else coming up in a moment. Phone lines and text line going to be open all morning long, all day long, 239-1070. We want to hear from you. We want you to shout it off the mountaintops today. We'll do it all as we continue at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Checkdown, brought to you by the Barbasol Horizon League Basketball Championships. March starts here. The Barbasol Horizon League Basketball Championships with NCAA tournament bids on the line, May 8th through 10th. Tickets and more at horizonleague.com/Indy.
Welcome to a national championship edition of the Checkdown this morning. The Indiana Hoosiers last night in Miami, a 27-21 victory over the Hurricanes. It wraps up a perfect, undefeated 16-0 season. This one was tight throughout, though, and as a matter of fact, it was just 17-14 in the fourth quarter. Fourth down and 4, maybe 5 at the 12-yard line of Miami. And Curt Cignetti, Fernando Mendoza, they went for it all.
Mendoza ready to take the snap. He takes it. He looks. He throws the football. And
he runs it, Don.
he runs it. And he ties for the end zone. Does he get it in? Touchdown! Fernando Mendoza runs the football and scores.
James, I don't know about you, and I don't know about anybody else. I can't get enough of everybody's cell phone footage of that. Every replay from every angle and every commentary. I must have watched that play already, like everybody else so far, 75 times, and I'm not exaggerating.
Again, one of those classic Fernando Mendoza runs where I'm like, no, yes. And it works out in epic fashion. And when he stretched over the goal line, they showed the still shot of it, a bunch of Getty images in other places. That is the shot I think you're going to see on a poster everywhere for all of time now in the Bloomington, Indianapolis area. So shout out to him for getting it done and just finding a way. That was you being tougher than the other person.
You want to talk about toughness too, Kevin. I love the fact that, look, first half, Miami, especially in the first quarter, they were bringing the lumber, man. They were knocking guys back. They were all over Roman Hemby. They were hitting him hard. They hit Fernando Mendoza hard. Probably should have been flagged once or twice. But Curt Cignetti in that running game, they kept with it. They ran the ball for 131 yards last night. They just kept coming at you.
Yeah, I thought they had a lot of timely runs. There was that offsides penalty Miami had there. I think it was in the first half, and then Indiana ran it like on a 3rd and 8 and just kind of gutted them right at the middle. I thought they had a couple of those where, you know, with the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, you would think, hey, this is a throw situation. And yet Indiana, which again, it's been probably more consistent, frankly, than their passing game all year long, has been that rushing attack. And I just saw some really timely, important runs. It wasn't, perfect by any means all night long, but some really, really key runs. And boy, Hemby and Black just run so hard.
Yeah, they do. Mikael Kamara had the blocked punt, and it was recovered in the end zone, and that was a big play. And then they got the interception at the very end of the game. That was a big play. There were just so many, as any national championship game, it comes down to plays, and Indiana just made more plays than Miami did last night, James.
Absolutely, and they made less mistakes. Again, going back to what Kevin said, and what many of us have said over these airwaves the last few days, which team is going to be more disciplined, and you saw that. And I got a kick out of, even on the last drive, Miami getting a delay of game to start the drive because IU fans were so loud in that part of the stadium. So you're at home playing in an environment you're familiar with, but it's actually not that familiar because you got those Hoosiers fans raining down on you.
We talk about oddities. Here's a 16-0 team that just won a college football national championship in today's era of offense. Again, I go back to this, Kevin. Mendoza only threw for 300 yards one time. They only had 1, 2, 3, 4 100-yard rushing games, even though those two guys usually got 80, 90 yards apiece, and they did it as a team. But they didn't just overwhelm you with stats sometimes, but they were so efficient, and yet they put up points all over the place when they needed to.
Yeah, I think a lot of those stats, frankly, has to do with them just blowing the you-know-what out of teams and not playing in the fourth quarter in a lot of those games. Shout out to Charlie Becker. That storyline, I think, will be one of the more under-the-radar aspects to this national title run. Of the Elijah Surratt injury kind of forced Charlie Becker into, more meaningful situations. And guys, when the game was on the line last night, who did Fernando Mendoza look for?
Randy Moss. That's what he looked like.
Charlie B from Tennessee, man. Back shoulder. Unbelievable. And, again, that was what, a 4th and 5, I think was the first one. The next one, I believe, was a 3rd and 7. And those weren't easy catches. The one near the sideline, I mean, he had to be, have the wherewithal of exactly where he was on the field to not just make the catch itself. So, I get when you have the Mendoza run on 4th and 5, you have the block punt, you have the Jamari Sharp interception. There's only so many highlights you can rank, but boy, shout out, yes, Charlie B, Randy Moss, whatever you want to call him, man. Boy, just huge in some just massive moments.
All right, also last night, Philadelphia 76ers beat the Indiana Pacers in Philly 113-104. Joel Embiid had 30 points, 9 boards. Andrew Nembhard and Pascal Siakam led the way for the Pacers, 25 and 24 respectively. They will play at Boston tomorrow. 2 head coaching hires in the NFL. Titans hire Robert Saleh, and the Dolphins choose Jeff Hafley. All right, we'll continue to talk about this national championship game, the season. We'll try to put it all into perspective. We'll start to take a look at your texts and your phone calls at 239-1070. It's going to be a great day here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Ball's up to 1.
High formation, quarterback under center.
Yep, Fernando's going to hand the ball off. Here's the snap. The handoff goes to Nowakowski. He dives his way to the end zone. Touchdown! Indiana scores and takes the lead at 9-0.
Nowakowski, he's the big-time guy now.
Don Fisher on the call, the Indiana Hoosiers Radio Network. That was on 9.
Hoosiers going undefeated, 16-0, and winning their first national championship in football. Boy, what a mouthful that was.
Man, it was. I'll take all the fulls you can give me, Kevin Bowen, because this was just fun to get wrapped up. It was easy to get wrapped up in it. And look, I'm not going to lie to people. I'm not a lifelong Indiana Hoosier fan. I've become a Hoosier fan over the last decade plus or so, and I like seeing them do well. 2 years ago, I would have never thought that this was going to happen. I never saw this coming. And to be even close to watching this ride happen just an hour and 10 minutes down the road, it gives you goosebumps watching that game last night.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood would have laughed at a lot of the scripts. It used to be, tailgate like a champion today or never lost a tailgate. And I said it to Scott Dolson when he joined us yesterday. But when these types of moments happen in sports, really dream stories, I apologize for bringing up a golf analogy. I know it might not rain for everybody out there, but I always remember Bubba Watson when he won the Masters, and he's getting choked up in Butler Cabin after winning the Masters during the Green Jacket ceremony, and he says to Jim Nantz, "Sorry, Jim, I never got this far in my dreams."
Wow.
And I feel that way about how IU fans would have viewed their football program. Like, the football conversation for Indiana University over the last 40-some years, certainly over the last 20 or 30 years, was why can't we just be like Minnesota? Why can't we just somehow find a coach that can lead us to 7-win seasons every other year? Go win the Motor City Bowl. Like, that was where the bar was, and now it's, holy bleep, we just finished off one of the greatest seasons in college football history, and it's really one of the greatest sports stories, period. That is just obviously in a totally different stratosphere on it all, and I did feel like there was just so many kind of moments last night that again epitomized what their season was all about and what the story is all about as well.
Well, it's an amazing thing to watch, an amazing thing to behold, and they'll be talking about it for decades and decades. It goes into college football and all of sports lore forever. Like I said, the national guys this morning trying to figure out where you even compare this to. What's the story you even use to compare these last 2 years? When people were saying, as recently as 2 weeks ago, you got Paul Feinbaum saying, oh, this will be a cute little story. We had a texter in the middle of the night that texted us, reminding us that Colin Cowherd said, hey, let's never invite Indiana again, even through all these changes. Like, they shouldn't have been there last year. The depth that this program was in to where they are now, I just can't get over it. And I know we talk about it, and it's repetitive, but they were not far and away, but they were solidly the best team in the college football playoff, and they showed it every week that they played, starting with the Big Ten championship against Ohio State, a couple of blowout wins, winning the close games, slugging them out. 16-0, just it speaks for itself in some ways, does it not?
Absolutely. And actually, I do want to hear from someone else here on these airwaves. Mark, do we have Will on the line here?
Will, go ahead. Good morning and welcome into Championship Tuesday, my friend.
Oh, he's speechless.
A lot of people were.
He dropped off.
Many are.
Well, yeah, if you do want to weigh in, 239-1070, give us a call here this morning.
Mark, see if you can vet anybody from Miami.
Being there? Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, if you made the trip to Miami.
JMV on a beach right now.
I don't know what the breathalyzer would say at this hour for a lot of those people, but seriously, I'd love to hear from those that were in the stadium. I thought post-game, seeing Curt Cignetti, him breaking stride wasn't probably that unforeseen, but Fernando Mendoza, going a little cuss word on us there post game. And did you guys catch the little jab of Miami declining him as a walk-on?
Yeah.
As well. Mark, at some point today, maybe we can get the Mendoza clip. He went on Scott Van Pelt after doing his press conference, and he got a little bit more into the weeds on the 4th and 5 call. I thought it was very interesting, like that decision, because, again, I didn't think that was an automatic go. Like, we almost have gotten used to this, especially in the NFL, where coaches now just go for every 4th and 1, 4th and 2, particularly when you're at that point of the field. That was a 4th and 5, and I didn't really trust Carson Beck to continue to do it. And so I didn't think with how your defense was playing that was a definite go situation. And clearly Cignetti had a little back and forth with his own decision-making there, but at some point we'll get to that Mendoza audio.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines and try Tyler now at 239-1070. Tyler, welcome to Championship Tuesday. You got it now.
Absolutely great feeling on this Tuesday morning, fellas. How we doing?
Oh, we're floating like everybody else in the state right now.
Yes, sir. 2 questions. One, when is Paul Feinbaum's exit of the country, since he said that he was going to leave the country if an SEC team didn't win? And 2, what kind of beer do you think Curt Cignetti drinks?
Yeah, he said he just wanted to go have a beer last night at the end of his interview.
Shout out Tyler for the 2 questions.
Yeah, the Hoosier Game Day Lager. I have had 1 or 2 of those in my day. Shout out to Upland Brewery, of course, the Bloomington Brewery down there. So Curt Cignetti, he was very emphatic. It would just be 1 last night.
So he's not crushing a natty light
for him. I
get the true college experience.
Maybe he's saving that for the parade, and needs a frat boy or 2 to throw him the natty light on the old float there. But yes, I have a feeling, Tyler, a lot of people would be saying to Paul Feinbaum, I'll drive you to Windsor and I'll do it today.
Yeah.
I've been
leave
thinking
the country, stay out.
Right.
I've been thinking about this. I need a vote from all you guys, too. And I thought about it last night when I was staring up at the ceiling after watching that run for the 58th time. Do we just ban Paul Feinbaum from ever coming on the radio station again?
I'll be honest with you. I think we've probably mentioned Paul Feinbaum's name too many times for my liking here.
That's what I'm saying.
I do want to say this, though. So on the last offensive drive for Indiana, not counting the kneel downs and whatever at the end, there was a little bit of a conversation, at least online, I thought, about going for it again and trying to put the dagger in him. Do you kick it to go up 6 or do you try to drive the stake into their heart and end the game? And obviously they kicked it, and you're relying on your defense to win you the game at that moment. And let's not act like they didn't have time. They had plenty of time to get down the field with Carson Beck. But here's what Zach Osterman had quoting Brian Haynes, the IU defensive coordinator, after the game. And his message to his defense before that drive, and he said, we're going to play coverage, we're going to make this guy try to earn it, and we're going to rob him. We're going to take his money at some point. Just cutthroat. I was like, oh, boy.
I love hearing Brian Haynes talk, by the way. That is Brian Haynes,
yes,
by the way.
But I was just thinking, every time I hear a quote from him, I hear dun, 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 the music in the back,
right.
This is not good. I would have bailed on everything that I wanted to do. So
every time he just presses the walkie-talkie, I feel like he's sounding like that.
Exactly. And again, trusting that all 3 phases of your team is going to help you win this game, because had they gone down there and scored, you're saying, oh, we could have won the game, we had the ball in our hands, but you trust your defense to make a play, and they did. Well, it was great.
When we made our picks to end the show yesterday, I think I kind of said to you guys all throughout last week, especially, of I did think Miami would offer a different test, and I did think it would be a close game. And if you look at last night, Indiana had a few cracking moments that we're not used to. Was that Elijah Surratt's first drop in the history of football?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about a big play there in the third quarter. James, you bring up going for it potentially on that final drive. The reason why that is a debate is because your left tackle, arguably, your best offensive lineman, has the false start. I mean, Indiana had a few moments there where it was this stage is a little different.
Yeah.
And, again, the passing game wasn't perfect by any means. Mendoza was getting hit, to the degree, easily the most he had been hit all season long. And so it was a little bit of, kind of gut check time here. But again, they delivered. And I'll keep on coming back to that Cignetti timeout there on the final drive. Again, there are a lot of coaches, James, and Shane Steichen will probably be at the top of the list, and not to turn this into a Shane Steichen debate, but just to, throw it out there for our market standpoint. A lot of coaches would save that last timeout.
Yeah.
He took that timeout to regroup, not because of clock.
Yeah.
He didn't save that timeout for his final drive. By taking that timeout, he literally said, Brian Haynes, it's on you.
Yep.
We're not going to get the ball back with realistic opportunity left here from a clock standpoint. And, on those final drives, I find it really interesting when defenses do take timeouts there. Oftentimes it's because your pass rush has been out on the field for 3 or 4 straight plays and, their hands on the hips and you can't feel like you're dialing any of that up. And I'd be really curious as we get, more into the reactionary part. I assume they'll have, of course, meet availabilities. I continue to say a parade. I assume there'll be something down there in Bloomington. But I'd love to know what that conversation was within the timeout of we're going to continue to play coverage, yes, but also did it allow your DBs to regroup a little bit and say, all right, everybody calm down here. I get we all want to make the play to win the national championship. Let's calm down. Let's continue to play our coverage. And, you watch that play, and it's, very simple. It's cover 2, and that corner just continues to sink and continues to sink. And Carson Beck, I think if he throws that ball maybe outside shoulder, it's a different story.
Underthrew it.
But he underthrew it, and the rest is history.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines, 239-1070. Again, it's a Championship Tuesday. And did you say Grady's on the line and was at the game last night? Good morning, Grady. Have you even slept?
This is Gritty, and I did not really sleep. I was in bed, but my mind was racing all night. It was a phenomenal a moment in my life. I've never experienced something so awesome.
Oh, Gritty, when did you – obviously the interception sealed the whole deal. Did you at any time feel like, got this, no problem?
No, not till the interception.
Is this P1 listener, Gritty?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Gritty, congratulations. You're always on our YouTube channel, text line, giving us the latest on IU sports. And we're so happy for you got that experience. The one I'll ask you is, when Fernando Mendoza dives across the goal line, what was your reaction in that stadium in that moment, knowing that might have sealed a national championship?
Oh, everybody around us were high-fiving, we're hugging each other. Everybody was family at that moment. It was just... It was great.
Gritty, can we get a final percentage of fans? What did you think was the percentage of Indiana fans in the building?
I'd say 65%.
Wow. That's awesome.
I saw a screenshot. Thank you for checking in, and congratulations on your championship, Hoosiers, Gritty. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. I saw a screen grab last night. Somebody, it was a picture they took or a screen grab. I don't know which one, but they had asked everyone in the stadium at I want to say Hard Rock, what song they wanted to hear next, and I forget who the options were. One of them was John Cougar Mellencamp, and they showed the results of that poll. 66% of the people said John Cougar Mellencamp, and the caption underneath the tweet was, "I think we know what the percentage of Indiana fans at the ball game is tonight." I wouldn't be surprised if it was 66%. There's a lot of red in that stadium last night.
Man, that's awesome. And just to get some more context here, Gritty, I think she told us that she had been a season ticket holder for years and years and years.
A real deal.
Which is why she had an opportunity to even get some of the ticket allotment, make the trip to Miami, see that game in person. So it's people like that, Kevin, that you think of the most.
Sure.
When you go through all of the losing and you stay committed and you finally get to get the last laugh.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool from the ESPN side of it. The Don Fisher acknowledgement. For those that went to bed, I don't know how you could have right when that game ended, but they showed the Don Fisher call, the camera of him. He was holding that stick mic that is so iconic for him on that call. I thought it was really cool for Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler to mention Lee Corso and you know, and all of that, and like even people that aren't in that limelight. Well, whether it's a Mark Deal, whether it's a Chuck Crabb, whether it's the Mallory family. How could you not think about Terry Hepner? And albeit tragically, it wasn't a long time in Bloomington, but what he brought there and potentially, starting this turnaround. Because, again, Kurt Cignetti, obviously, the statue will be built. But as, Cignetti has even pointed out, Scott Dolson has pointed out, this has been something in the works. And, Pam Whitten, the fact that she spent 5 years at Georgia, I don't think Michael McRobbie's history in Australian-American football was probably at the forefront of his mind there compared to Pam Whitten 5 years in the SEC. And without it, I don't think last night is possible.
Let's go back to the phone lines right now at 239-1070 as we have a ton of folks that want to talk to us. Rusty, you're next here on the Fan Morning Show. Welcome to Championship Tuesday. I love saying that, Rusty. Go ahead.
Hey guys, what a morning! We're so used to losing, and what the content you guys have had to cover with the Pacers coming so close, with the Colts injuries. My comment is, I was at Indiana from 95 to 98, and we won 11 games in 4 years when I was at Indiana. We went 11-33 when I was there. Wow. My son is at Indiana right now, and he's in a fraternity down there. He's an SAE, and he calls me last night on FaceTime, and this is my comment. He said he didn't realize how big of a deal it was until he looked around the room, and the kids were FaceTiming their parents who were crying. And he said, Dad, that's when I was like, what is going on? This is bigger than I ever imagined, you know? So anyway, I haven't been to sleep yet. I'm going to drink this large coffee and head into work.
That's awesome.
I'm just, the best day. This is the best day ever. We've just been so bad for so long. It just feels like an alternate universe. And I'm as happy as you guys are today. Love the show.
It's
Rusty,
crazy.
thank you. That was great.
Again, I'll tell people I have not suffered with the Indiana Hoosiers my entire life. I've kind of started following the team. I liked them, when Tom Allen was there. They had a nice story going on, and then just to watch them and cover them, it's fun. I had a slight emotional moment last night when at the end of the game, Fernando Mendoza, his mom and his dad and his brother are down on the field, and I think his aunt too, and the embrace between him and his mother. That almost got me for a second there, James. I'm not going to lie. That was pretty cool.
It got Matty Bone.
Yeah,
Did
it gives you some perspective. And then the fact that his dad never stands up and always celebrates the moments with her, and how, subconsciously, it's probably just a thing that he does year after year. That was really cool. And great to hear from Rusty as well. I will say, I don't know, I didn't get too emotional myself. I haven't been a part of the losing, but I will say, after they whooped Illinois, it didn't take too much for me to believe in this team and what they were able to do. And just to finish it off in that fashion, I mean, it wasn't their best game. I thought, again, like I told you all, I thought Miami had to play almost perfect to win. They did not. And then I believe IU kind of got out of that game. Not to discredit Miami at all. A lot of the mistakes IU made was because of how good Miami was. But I thought that was like a B- performance from the Hoosiers, considering some of the penalties they had and some of the miscues, and they still were able to go out there and win because they're just a tougher, grittier team.
Yeah, a couple things Rusty's call kind of ignited in me. I guess historically, every person that's probably attended Indiana University in the last 30 years can go over their football resume, and it sounds reminiscent
11-33
of
during
that.
4 years.
I believe mine in the 4 years there was, I think they lost to Ball State twice, if not 3 times. It might have been if I would have done the 5th year, I think that was the 3rd loss to Ball State. 3 Big Ten wins in 4 years.
Boy.
3-28 in the Big Ten in my 4 years. And literally the thing that I remember the most about the 2 things I remember the most about the football program when I was there. They gave up 83 to Wisconsin. That's a football game. 83 points to Wisconsin. And Kevin Wilson yelling at a McNutt RA. And this goes to show you where the Indiana University program is at. McNutt is probably a foreign word to you. That's a dormitory. That's where Indiana University put their football coach up in the first week on the job. He was in a McNutt dormitory suite.
Not a hotel.
Imagine a major college football program putting up their newly hired football coach. I mean, Kevin Wilson was kind of a big-ish name. He had come from, some big schools, and you put him up in a dorm, and Kevin Wilson's, temper got the best of him one night, and he is literally yelling at an RA who was trying to defuse a situation between James Boyd, former RA, correct?
Yes.
This RA was trying to defuse a situation with an underage student and alcohol, and Kevin Wilson is not happy that he is not being catered to as the McNutt resident. That's the state of the football program.
I'm going to say this, though. As the former RA, this kind of reminds me of, being the Illinois grad, the Cubs won their first World Series in over 100 years when I was in college, and the resident director, who was my boss at the time, legitimately wanted me to walk around our dormitory and write noise complaints about people who are being too loud.
No. Come on now.
The guy was anti-sport, Kevin. I have never. That's probably the worst.
Tell
loss
me
I've
you
ever
did
had in my
not bow
life.
down to that.
No,
Thank
no.
you.
The only thing I ever did was this kid put "Go Cubs Go" on blast on his stereo and left the room. So I got the master key and went in after about literally like 6 hours. I went in. He was not there. Turn the radio off and then close the door back. But again, he wanted me to write noise complaints. I'm like, no. So like all that to say, no class today. If there is class today, ain't nobody showing up for it. And enjoy it because this is a core memory you'll never forget.
Well, and the one other thing I'll add from Rusty's call there too, and Jeff, you brought it up in the Mendoza moment with his family. For 98% of sports fans, the winning is all that matters. Like if you're a Purdue basketball fan, you'll take that national championship game in frickin' Siberia. It doesn't have to be in Lucas Oil Stadium if your team gets it done coming up in April. But think about the cherry on top for the IU national title. The Mendoza story is movie-like. Just the mom, the family, how he acts, how he carries himself, all of those things. Think back to Scott Dolson's conversation with us yesterday about his first interaction with Mendoza. But it's more than just that. It's the memories of Aiden Fisher getting on the mic at the end of the Big Ten championship game inside of Lucas Oil Stadium and starting the fight song. It's all the Indiana fans driving down 65 a week and a half ago to go to Atlanta. Like, not every year do you have the drivable playoff site, and yet you had that this year. The JMU aspect to it. It's not Indiana kids necessarily, but still, I think that JMU, the 13 of them, if you will, and how many of them were huge last night. Kamara makes the huge play on the block punt. Obviously, D'Angelo Ponce continues to be one of the best players. You make the Rose Bowl. It's your first, bowl win in what? Since the Copper Bowl in 91. And who's the opponent in the Rose Bowl? It's big bad Alabama out of the SEC, and you beat the living breaks off them. Like, to me, obviously, when you win the title, a lot of people don't care about all the other stuff that trickles, off of that. But the fact that there's so many of those aspects to this season. I haven't even mentioned Omar Cooper Jr.'s catch in Happy Valley. When's the last time that they won in Happy Valley? Like, there's just so much of that when you present the script to Hollywood will look at it and say, hey, we can't do all that. No. Like,
one. This is too corny.
We faked the movie Rudy enough. We can't go full on there. But this movie has all of that, and it's real.
All right, we're going to turn the show over to the phone calls and texts coming up in a moment here to let you just soak it in, feel it, breathe it, live it. One quick thing before we go, AT in Zionsville, and I want to hear from folks that were at Assembly Hall last night. He says the place was rocking. Hoosier fans were out in full force. The noise definitely louder than it's been there in a while. A blast to be in there. I have no doubt about that. I'd like to hear a firsthand account from there as well. Keep them all coming in. We'll get to as many phone calls and texts as we can throughout the morning. Another Championship Tuesday. I shouldn't say another. It is Championship Tuesday on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Fernando's going to hand the ball off. Here's the snap. The handoff goes to Nowakowski. He dives his way to the end zone. Touchdown! Indiana scores and takes the lead at 9-0. Here's the snap back. Fletcher gets the call, tries to skirt outside and does. He breaks it. He is down the field. He's going to score. A 57-yard by Mark Fletcher Jr. And all of a sudden, Miami right back in this football game in a big way, and momentum has swung pretty dramatically here to start the second half. Back to do the punting is Dylan Joyce, back around his own 2 to take the snap. And it's back to him. And the punt is on. Oh, it's blocked!
Oh, that's huge.
Blocks it. It is picked up. Touchdown, Indiana! Isaiah Jones! And Indiana comes up with a tremendous play, but Kyle Kamara got the block on the kick.
Blocked! Indiana blocks the punt and falls on it for a touchdown!
Here is Beck under center, gets the snap, fakes the handoff, gives it to Fletcher, just walks into the end zone, jogs in, I should say. Mendoza ready to take the snap. He takes it. He looks. He throws the football. And
he runs it.
No, he runs it. And he ties for the end zone. Does he get it in? Touchdown! Fernando Mendoza runs the football and scores.
He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
Fletcher to his right, hits the snap, and there is an end-around play, and they've got Tony again running it for the end zone. Touchdown. Here's the snap back. Beck looks, throws it down the field, and it is intercepted by Indiana. Wow, what a play! And it is Jamari Sharp who comes up with a pick.
Beck steps up, delivers downfield, intercepted! Jamari Sharp makes the pick that will clinch Indiana's first national championship.
We won the national championship at Indiana University. It can be done.
I mean, there's no better group of guys I want to do it with. It's the most special moment of my life. There's such a great group of guys. I love you guys. Great job. Let's go!
Did I ever think something like this was possible? Probably not. But if you keep your nose down in life and keep working, anything is possible. Best fans in America, I know what cheer you like the best. Did you ever think this was possible? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Who's
Just another Monday night in America. The Indiana Hoosiers are the champions of college football for the 2025 season, finishing it off last night at Hard Rock Stadium, a 27-21 victory over the Miami Hurricanes. I listened to the fantastic work that Mark Dykton did just there. Kevin Bowen and James Boyd, welcome into the show this morning as always. And everybody contributed last night. Obviously, Mendoza doing his thing. Black, Hemby, Nowakowski had his touchdown run on a couple of catches. Cooper, Becker, Surratt, they were catching footballs. Tackles at big times from all the usual suspects. You heard the Mikel Kamara blocked there, and the recovery in the end zone by Jamari Sharp, and you had an interception, or the interception, I should say, at the very end of the game. All those kinds, everybody in on the deal last night, and you love that. And it goes back to something we had talked about yesterday, Kevin. Where's the weakness on this team? Who are you going to go after? Where's the weakness? Who are you going to pick on?
Yeah, it was really a true team effort. You know, it wasn't necessarily the 4 touchdown Heisman night for Fernando Mendoza. You had to win left-handed. You had to win in other ways, and so many of those highlights go to that. Again, the 4th and 5, and just the call, the gutsiness of the run on a night when Mendoza had been hit. Certainly the most he had been all season, if not, a couple different flags I thought should have been thrown there. And it'll go down in lore. It'll be Keith Smart. It'll be Christian Watford. For many people, it'll be topping those two.
It has to, right? That game, that moment, that's got to be number one.
Well, I mean, again, not to get into technicalities here, but I don't know. Keith Smart, baseline jumper to win a national title. I mean, some people would put that up there, but again, we are splitting hairs to the nth degree.
I'm so
here.
nitpicky, I'm picking between championships. This wasn't a thing before, Kevin.
And I'll continue to go back to that block punt. I just to refresh everybody's memory on that. That was a 4th and 1 where first off they had made a nice tackle on Malachi Tony to keep him short of the sticks to get it to 4th and 1, and then IU leaves their defense out there. And 9 times out of the 10, you watch a defense be out there for punt safe, and they barely even rush going after the punter because you're thinking there, don't go off sides and don't rough. And Mikhail Kamara, an All-American, who's probably had a little bit of an underwhelming year compared to where he was last year, battled injuries, he busts his ass on that play. And the Miami dude, 87, he half-assed it. And that, to me, just epitomizes who Indiana is and who their opponents quite often have been. Indiana plays to a standard. No matter the time of the game, no matter the play, no matter the magnitude, it's not 4th and 5 after a timeout where the whole building knows the magnitude of the play. You never know when that moment's going to be there. And that play, I think, deserves to live in quite a bit of lore as well.
All right, we have somebody who was at the game on the line right now. Welcome into the Fan Morning Show. John, are you with us this morning?
I am very, very much. Tony Katz gave me the sweet wake-up call, so you guys, you guys don't get to blame for that. So no, we're all good.
I was going to wait till 8:30, but I'm glad you're here now. Look, you're a lifelong Indiana fan. You've lived in Bloomington. You know that school. You know all the history. You've lived it. What's going through your mind last night, whether it's the Mendoza run or the blocked punt or the pick at the end or pick any one of the other plays? What are you thinking and feeling last night, JMV?
Jeff, I kind of described this yesterday on the show here at the Diplomat. It was more to me about what I've witnessed over the weekend and then through last night with a fan base that was so emotional. And I'm talking emotionally joyous. And that's what I witnessed last night, especially at the end of the game, because there were a lot of nerves, a lot of raw nerves going on, a lot of anxious moments in that game. But Kevin, I thought, just described it right. You always had that cool confidence with this IU team under Kurt Cignetti and this season that was absolutely non-existent on any level. It was really a turning of the tables because you always thought in the past that they were going to do something that would ultimately lose them the game, no matter who they were playing. And last night it was weird. As somebody that had been around this football program and watched this over and over again for decades, it's hard to compartmentalize exactly the feeling that you had and the belief that they were going to make the play of magnitude of that blocked punt, of what Mendoza did, to call the timeout, to make the call on that quarterback keeper, and to will himself into the end zone. This is all stuff of dreams. It was, a myth. It would have been a false story. It would have been fiction back in the day. And last night, you kind of saw it all before us at Hard Rock, and it wasn't so much about the crowd being joyous and celebrating and partying. It was more about the emotion of, look what we've been through and who we are right now. And you could tell that a lot of people were still trying to really have it soak in that this was happening. It was as magical a moment. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. In my lifetime, guys, it's the biggest college or professional sports moment of my lifetime, considering where they were and where they are now. And I think secondarily, it's only a runner-up to Miracle on Ice for the greatest sports story. That's not hyperbole. That is just the truth, considering who they were and who they are now. And if you were there last night to see all that raw emotion and that realism, if you were able to witness it, you'd know exactly what I was talking about. It was incredible.
We have John Michael Vincent on the line here. JMV, you listen to him Monday through Friday here on 107.5 The Fan, The Ride, 3 to 6. And I will say this, John, I'll forgive you for skipping our Sunday morning hoops. Legacies were on the line. We needed you. You weren't there. I think this is a good exception or a good reason to miss out to see the Hoosiers win a natty. But when you think of Fernando Mendoza, that moment where he crosses the goal line, dive in, battered, bruised, scores, how will that moment for you rank in Indiana lore?
It's a great lead-in. By the way, too, you see what happens with basketball when I'm gone. Everything's
true. It all fell apart.
It all goes to hell. Hey, guys, I spent Sunday afternoon with the Jones family. The Jones family, DJ Jones, that played at Ohio State, and his son Isaiah Jones, who had the touchdown on the block punt last night. And this is what I gathered from Mendoza last night and for this team and for Isaiah moving forward. All they talked about was legacy. This is so meaningful in a world, in a landscape where guys are moving all over the place. and could get paid more going someplace else, and are constantly getting overtures from other teams, other programs about, hey, come here and we'll pay you more. It has been all about the legacy of being one of one. And that's what struck me when I was hanging around with their family about what, their son thought about his situation. And James, that was much like Fernando Mendoza. That's his legacy. No matter what happens anywhere else professionally, no matter what he's done, and I'm sure he'll have a great career, that his legacy, and he was a part again. This is a one-of-one story, and it's not likely to be outdone ever by anybody else, certainly in college football. So it was about the legacy of that moment last night, about the plays that made on the field, and about the moments. It's funny. You leave those moments up, and we saw a drastic difference last night, did we not? You saw Mendoza making a play, not incredible stats, but making a play when it was necessary. And then Carson Beck, Miami fans knew this in the stadium, that he was going to be incapable of making that level of play. And that is the difference. And to most of these IU players, which I think it makes it even more enhanced, being special, that it's about the legacy of doing something that nobody could possibly ever do again. And that makes it even extra special.
That is, of course, JMV. Excellent work yesterday, John, on the show down there from the Diplomat. Thoroughly enjoyed listening to that. You probably missed it. Obviously, you were busy in the stadium, but ESPN showed the camera shot of Don Fisher on the Jamari Sharp call. And, I've thought about a lot of people, John, as I'm sure you have over the last 12 hours or so. But, I know how close you are with Don, and those Friday conversations I enjoy thoroughly that you two have. And just, people like that, whether, whoever else you want to throw into that group, Chuck Crabb, Mark Deal, Terry Hepner's family, the Mallorys, all of it. It just really thinking about so many of those people that have been there through literally thick, much more than thin.
Yeah, it's funny with Don. Don was the first one on it, Kev. Don told me about this team last summer. And in particular, it's probably not the greatest example today because their quarterback, got the crap beat out of him. And as Signetti mentioned
Hey, we're gonna call John back. There's the phone line went sideways there for a second.
He's a championship chipmunk.
Yeah. But no, it's a great question, and I wanted to hear him talk about spending that time with Don and other folks like that.
It might have been something he was drinking last night.
You're going there with JMV right there?
I'm thinking, no chance in hell would I be answering the phone this early in the morning.
I told him not to do whippets before he came on the air.
We got a helium balloon in the lobby there, the Diplomat down there.
I'll tell you what.
He might have been at Club 11
yesterday. There are three
yesterday.
things JMV loves in this life. It is Sunday morning hoops, it is radio, and it is having a great time. And I'm sure he's having a great time right now down in Miami.
I hope you had a chance to listen to his show live from Miami yesterday. It was a perfect way to lead into what was an unforgettable night, a historic night, and we will be talking about it forever and ever and ever. There's so many firsts happening last night. You guys realize, and I didn't realize this. Yeah, we'll get to John. He's back in a second. This is the first-time champion since 1996. It's always the usual suspect, Kevin.
Yeah, I saw a stat where we are now at 3 straight Big Ten champs for the first time since 1940.
Yeah.
So does it just mean more now in the Big Ten?
Does it mean more in the Big Ten? John Michael Vincent, JMV, back on the line now at 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. We were talking about your time with Don Fisher just a moment ago, but man, it's just this team just keeps coming up with first after first after first.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Hey, by the way, that high voice I just gave you was duality down here. That's just from last night. It has nothing to do with the Wi-Fi in the building there.
Told you.
That was just from last night. So, no, seriously, Don was the first one onto this. He told me last summer that this team is going to be different, even than the one in year number one for Curt Cignetti. So he's been on this really early, but no, you think about so many different people that have been in and around this program, around IU athletics. And guys, the magnitude of the losing has been documented. But how about guys like Adewale Ogunleye, who was on with me yesterday down on the field last night? I mean, he in the NFL played so many years at a high level and was always collegiately the butt of jokes. He had to take a lot of ribbing. If he went to IU, it was all about basketball, and that was great. But, football was the butt of jokes. And it is no longer a joke right now. And there were so many ghosts of a program that has so been dormant for so many decades last night that were put to bed. That's saw all of that negativity leave these football fans' bodies, and it's gone forever. It was like a massive exorcism at Hard Rock last night of proportions I can't really describe. And that's always struck me about Don or guys that have been a part of the program or just longtime fans. I had a lady that's on the trip here named Susie that had been going to football games since 1967, that Rose Bowl team, and got emotional on the air. People, you had John Eisenberger's son come on with me, Luke, yesterday, got emotional on the air. This is so much more meaningful than just going and getting a win. And, hey, we're the little engine that could. As I mentioned earlier, guys, it is about shedding one legacy and creating a one-of-one legacy now with that win and an unbeaten season this past year. It's hard to fathom, but it actually happened, and you could see the tears of joy, the emotion last night in so many faces, and that's what has made this whole trip even extra special, because they cashed in on something that everybody, to a person, felt was going to be so improbable and probably nothing more than a dream, and it was actually reality last night.
JMV, thanks as always for getting up early, even though Tony Katz drug you out of bed. We're happy to spend some time with you. Great job on the show last night. I know you'll be on an airplane and doing some things, so Greg Rakestraw is going to fill in for you this afternoon, but we can't wait to hear you again, my friend. Thanks for all you do, and enjoy this like every other longtime, lifelong Hoosier, buddy.
It's incredible, guys. Keep up the great work. Have a great morning, and we'll see you back coming up tomorrow, fellas.
Thanks, John.
All right, there he is, the one, the only, JMV, joining us here on the Fan Morning Show live from Miami. It's first after first after first. It's just first after first after first, and I'm here for it, Kevin.
James, that was a great question or a point that you brought up, kind of where does, I've mentioned the Keith Smart and the Christian Watford, where does it rank in, Indiana sports lore? When you think back to the Super Bowl for the Colts, it was a game that lacked, I think, a lot of, crazy highlights. Reggie Wayne obviously catches the infamous ball in the rain there. Obviously, Kelvin Hayden and that, pick six to ice it would probably be the one. I unfortunately, for a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, I think you just have to have the championship to go with it to really, be those individual plays.
He would say that.
Obviously, Gordon Hayward, if that shot goes in, it's, frankly, one of the greatest moments in sports, period, if not the greatest. That would be right up there. But, as much of it, and, Mark, maybe on the other side we can play Mendoza kind of getting into the weeds a little bit more on that play because, it sounds like that was something that was really not only debated on the sidelines, Signetti obviously taking a timeout, but based off what Mendoza said, it was almost like when you come to the line of scrimmage, if you see, I believe he said, if you see man, then you throw it, and if you see zone, then you run it. So, and he said, after the snap, it was kind of, he saw half and half a little bit there, and on a night where he got hit like none other, he showed just the heart of a lion, frankly, and bouncing off a tackler, and then the extension. I got such Andrew Luck vibes from that 2013 Super Bowl, or I shouldn't say Super Bowl, I should say Spider-Man, Superman, I guess is what I'm looking for here. That sort of effort that he showed against the Chiefs.
Amazing stuff. Mark, let's do a quick check down, and then we'll get right back into phone calls and texts from everybody else as we celebrate this championship with you all day long here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Morning Checkdown, brought to you by the Barbasol Horizon League Basketball Championships. March starts here. The Barbasol Horizon League Basketball Championships with NCAA tournament bids on the line May 8th through 10th. Tickets and more at horizonleague.com/Indy.
27-21, the Hoosiers win in Miami against Miami. Could go 16-0 and win the 2025 College Football Playoff National Championship. I know we play in 2026, but it'll count as 2025. How about this, guys? This now, the Hoosiers, they are the fifth team in the AP poll era to go 5-0 or better against AP top 10 opponents in a single season. If you're worried about their schedule or who they played or what conference they are in, only the fifth team ever to go at least 5-0 against top 10 opponents, James.
Yeah, I feel like we can find a stat like that for pretty much everything they've done this season. So it just continues to cement what we witnessed and what will stand the test of time now because you've won it and no one can take it away from you.
All right, very close football game last night. As we all know, we were watching. It could go either way at any time. And then all of a sudden, you've got an amazing play on special teams in the third quarter with the score 10-7 that really lifted the Hoosiers.
Back to do the punting is Dylan Joyce. Back around his own 2 to take the snap. And it's back to him. And the punt is on. Oh, it's blocked.
Oh,
Indiana
that's huge.
blocks it. It is picked up. Touchdown, Indiana. Isaiah Jones. And Indiana comes up with a tremendous play. But Kyle Kamara got the block on the kick.
Yeah, that's Don Fisher on the call, the voice of the Indiana Hoosiers. That gave them a 17-7 lead. Mark Fletcher Jr. came back with a touchdown run. Miami answered. It was 17-14. And then maybe one of the greatest plays in the history of Indiana football and college football takes place on a 4th and 5 at the Miami 12 with 9:18 remaining in the game. This happened.
Hold on, you're just throwing us down. What did you want now?
Fernando Mendoza, the touchdown run.
Mendoza ready to take the snap. He takes it. He looks. He throws the football. And
No, he runs it,
No,
Don.
he runs it. And he ties for the end zone. Does he get it in? Touchdown! Fernando Mendoza runs the football and scores.
How many guys smacked him at the 5-yard line? At least 3 there. Then he spins off that to the left. Then he sees he's close to the goal line, so he goes airborne, and 2 more guys pop him.
Hell of an effort, to say the least, there from Mendoza. Earlier in that drive, you had the Charlie Becker, the first of the 2. Again, Becker has just turned into this guy that you throw to in these critical situations. I thought both of those catches just absolutely outstanding from him. To get in bounds, I think that was the first one on the 4th down there. Really a Heisman moment from Fernando Mendoza on a night when it was not smooth sailing for him whatsoever. And to show the you-know-what on that play, onions is probably the best way I can put it, big time by the number 1 pick coming
James, will, desire, talent, all of the above. What goes in to the mix of that play for Fernando Mendoza?
I thought once he got the first down, the rest of it was just will, because he picked up the first down. The play design was awesome. So instantly we knew that was going to get you a new set of downs, but he just kept going, man, kind of ping-ponged his way into the end zone.
It was like, hold on to the football. I mean,
I was
honestly.
definitely screaming that. And he committed the cardinal sin of stretching the ball across the goal line. It's like when Michael Phelps won the 8 gold medals in the Olympics and he did like that little half stroke at the end. You're not supposed to do that, but it worked. Hey, if it works, no one remembers that you shouldn't have done that. So hats off to Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, Miami didn't quit. They came back on a Malachi Tony 22-yard reception from Carson Beck to make it 24-21. Then Nico Radicic hit a 35-yard field goal to make it 27-21. They got the pick at the end, but they just kept coming and coming and coming. And every time Miami did something, Indiana found an answer. Because I'm not going to lie, Malachi Tony scared the heck out of me last night.
Yeah, Miami's got some individual dudes. You imagine seeing Ruben Bain. You imagine if Mark Sanchez saw Ruben Bain walking around the corner. Oh, boy. Him, Akeem Mesidor, Moton made some plays. I mean, their D-line had just some grown man moments there.
Wouldn't one of those guys look good in blue and white?
Well,
They'll never get there.
Unless
yeah.
I missed the Colts having a first-round pick here in 2026 here. This is probably a day where we don't need to talk any Colts. Is Shane Steichen really the 3rd longest tenured head coach right now in the AFC?
Rank the coaches in the AFC South.
Is that a
Don't
thing?
answer that.
Andy Reid, Zach Taylor, and then you get into Shane Steichen and the rest of that coaching cycle. All of it. Miami had some individual dudes. And, that's why I did think this would be a close game. I thought their individual talent would rise to the occasion, but at the same time, didn't trust their discipline. And, no play sums it up more than, the opening kickoff, and then they get to delay a game there on the final drive there to set them behind the chains. But, again, the Cignetti timeout, just a little thing on that final drive. A lot of coaches, I don't think, would be calling a timeout. In that moment, he regrouped his defense there, and they come out and they make the play of Jamari Sharp's career.
Amazing stuff. They win it 27-21. They are national champions. I will also tell you last night there was a game in the NBA that we were concerned with. Indiana losing in Philadelphia 113-104 was the final score. They'll play at Boston tomorrow. 2 coaching changes yesterday. The Titans have hired Robert Saleh. The Dolphins have chosen Jeff Hafley. Is there anything else other than football and the Miami Hurricanes losing to Indiana that you want to talk about?
Yeah,
Kevin?
I'll go quick rundown. Indiana up at Michigan tonight. They are a massive 15.5-point underdog for Darren DeVries and company. Butler's hosting DePaul. You need to hold serve there at home. Purdue, they'll wrap up their West Coast trip. We'll see about Braden Smith's knee. They've got UCLA tonight. A lot of Peacock action, I believe, for both the Big Ten teams. And expect this for Indiana to a degree, but, we've mentioned staff continuity. We've mentioned roster retention. It sounds like the inevitable nature of college football already starting to hit the program a little bit here. Their strength coach, Derek Owens, reportedly off to Tennessee. I know Kurt Cignetti has held him in super high regard, and strength coaches in the college football program, I think, mean a whole lot. And no surprise here, but did you guys see Alberto Mendoza reportedly entering the transfer portal? I think I saw maybe Georgia Tech was a favorite for him. So, again, the TCU transfer quarterback Josh Hoover and his massive, $4 million payday thought to be the starter there. So looks like both Mendozas will be exiting the Indiana program.
Well, anything else you want to throw in, James, as I catch my breath here?
NBA news, Jimmy Butler tore his right ACL last night, so he's out for the rest of the season. Big blow for the boys out west, but as far as things here in the state, vibes are high.
All right, coming up in a moment, more of your phone calls and texts right here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Well, if you were pulling your hair out last night, good news. We've got help for you. And it's a championship-type effort at We Grow Hair in the Northwest Side, building number 2 at the Pyramids, the gold standard for hair restoration. We Grow Hair Indy. Darren Andrews and his staff, they've got great leadership reminiscent of maybe something we saw last night. And they've got information for you. They've got answers to the questions that you have. So, again, contact them today. That's WeGrowHairIndy.com. And up on the Northwest Side, building number 2 at the Pyramids, We Grow Hair Indy.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
4th and 5. What did you think of the call?
Everybody doubted us at the beginning of the year. We didn't make it this far, not to land on the line. 4th down, we trust our guys, we trust our O-line. First 4th down, Charlie Becker, fantastic catch. Second 4th down, I would die for my guys in the field. Same way they do for myself. We put on the line, and we got that dub. Let's go.
You've had so many great moments. Has there been a better moment than that touchdown run in that spot?
No better moment. We talked about this a year ago when we started spring and winter workouts. We're going to be a national champion contender. Everybody counted us out, but it's the optimism and self-belief we had in each other that got us to this point.
I don't know if you've seen it yet, but your parents celebrating that touchdown run is something to see. You ought to check it out. A lot of family members here. What do you think tonight's going to be like for you?
Oh, tonight's going to be an insane night, to say the least. I also can't wait to get back in Bloomington with the guys.
Where do you think you'll find Fernando Mendoza next in Bloomington? Where does he pop up first?
I have no idea. I mean, it doesn't have to do the whole like TV show rounds. Good Morning America, Saturday Night Live.
Man,
something
oh
like
man,
that.
I don't know. That's a good problem to have if you're Fernando Mendoza. All the hot spots last night, Bloomington. Did you see all the people standing in line all day long to get a good seat in whatever place they wanted to go in last night in Kirkwood?
Boy, I'll tell you what, some of those light poles, that Jimmy John sign, I hope it's still standing here on this Tuesday morning there. Looked like I did see we had one like little bonfire-ish thing going on there, and it looked like the Bloomington PD was able to get that out. So, I mean, it's 8:32. The sun's been up for what, at least a half hour or so. I assume everything's fine, right? Are we good?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any Fox 59 news updates about kids getting detained or whatever. So I think this is a positive for the state and the city of Bloomington.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines, 239-1070.
When is the parade? Can we get on that, Mark Dykton? Can you get on that?
I keep looking. I haven't seen anything yet. All right, J-Law is on the line, and he is a heavy P1 listener to us, and he joins us on the Fan Morning Show today. Happy Championship Tuesday, J-Law.
Hey, I woke up, and we're still champions.
It was not a dream.
The most overwhelming moment in my life, I think, the end of the game.
Unbelievable. Take me through what you're thinking and feeling with that interception to seal the deal.
Well, you could see where John and I were sitting. You could see what was going on. It was right in front of us. And they needed it because I was scared because they were marching down the field pretty big chunks at a time. So just unreal. I mean, surreal.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm just curious because we had talked about this all week long, getting in and out of the stadium. I know you guys wanted to stick around and listen to everybody be interviewed and soak in the moment. But what time did you actually get back to your hotel last night?
We had the best driver. We got behind a police escort somehow. And we got back to the hotel about in 20 minutes. So we were back here around 12:30, one of the first ones in the lobby. And then it was just a flood of people and the fight song, the chants. It was, like I said, it was a dream.
J-Law, the one for me I do want to ask, just making the decision to go to a national championship, why was it so important for you to be there in person to experience this, not knowing, obviously, if they were going to win or lose, and then having that outcome that they had last night?
A few reasons. My whole family's lifelong IU fans. My sister and I are grads. My daughters are grads. Dad was a huge fan. Season ticket holder, 15-plus years. I'm going through some health stuff now, as most of you know, so it made it even more special, quite honestly. I was not going to miss it.
J-Law, congrats, man. You deserve it. I know so many people down there. It's the definition of once in a lifetime, so I'm glad you had that moment for you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys and all the coverage you do, and like I said, I thought it was a dream until I woke up again.
Well, it's good stuff. You're not dreaming. It's real. Feel better. We're here with you, and we keep looking forward to all your feedback on social media and the phone lines, man. Thanks. There he is, J-Law, who is truly a P1 listener all the time, everywhere, and I'm sure many people. I'm wondering, unless you got behind an escort last night, it might have been 2 o'clock in the morning before some people got back to their hotels.
Yeah, I kind of heard mixed reactions from some people that, said, getting into the stadium, again, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, obviously when the president appears anywhere, security is going to be quite something, but I think it was kind of mixed bag. Some people a little bit more difficult than others, but man, that game, I mean, it really lived up to it. From a hype standpoint, we haven't had a national championship I think have that many, at the 2-minute warning, Indiana was still possessing the ball. And, I think what really stands out is, you had last night, you had a few cracking moments for Indiana. You had I didn't know Elijah Surratt could drop a football. I mean, you had a big 3rd down drop from him. You had Carter Smith, their best offensive lineman, have a false start penalty that easily could have been the difference in the game. And, I didn't trust Carson Beck to drive down the field, but, that's one Malachi Toney forcing a missed tackle away from potentially, that drive looking a whole lot different there at the end. And, again, I know it's not maybe the sexiest thing to point out, but Kurt Cignetti just taking a time out there. Yes, it eliminated probably Indiana having a realistic chance to do anything with the football had they gotten it back, but he felt like at that point, this is going to be on our defense, and we need to regroup. And their pass rush was struggling. The Indiana pass rush did not affect Beck, I think, enough at all. But in that moment there, you're able to regroup, and Jamari Sharp obviously makes a play of a lifetime.
All right, let's go check Daniel next on the phone lines at 239-1070. Happy Championship Tuesday, Daniel. You're up.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm a 91 IU grad, and I remember those Anthony Thompson years. I actually saw him at the Union, and him walk by, and I felt like I was being in the presence of a god. But, yeah, I was a typical IU basketball, Notre Dame football fan growing up, and to see this is just amazing. And then it was interesting at halftime, seeing Sig complaining about the quarterback hits. You hear coaches do these things all the time, and you're like, yeah, it's just gamesmanship. No, but it was legit. I mean, they could have freaking arrested some of the players for some of the things that were going on there. But Sig to stick with the run, there were lots of, just 1-2 yard runs, and we were at fourth and 4, 5, 6 yards, 3rd downs a ton. And then to see that false start by our, all-world freaking tackle, and just barely, it's the thing that I was like, how could they call that there? But he knew he did it, too. He owned it. But then the guts and trust and coaching for Jamari Sharp to sit there and go, okay, I know my safety's over the top. I'm going to go make a play on this ball. That's just right there, just kind of solidifies the entire IU season. But I'll tell you what, at the very end of that game there, I was like, are we going to get a safety here and have to punt the ball back to them? I was like, what a nightmare. I don't know if everybody else was seeing that, but I was like, this game's not over. I'm like, whoa. And Mendoza was very aware of it. He probably put his most effort into getting that 1 yard there than he did the entire game.
Yeah, and he didn't go straight up the middle. He kind of slid off to the right side to get that extra yard.
He kept his wits. That's just another moment for him. It was like, it's going to get lost in all the other stuff, but I'm telling you what, that right there was huge.
Daniel, I did think of that when I was watching the game. Like, you cannot kneel right here. You cannot do that. But after the finals buzzer, final sound, what were the emotions? Was it more relief? Was it joy? How would you describe just the two feelings when you realize, okay, I can exhale now?
The thing is funny, the past couple of weeks, after winning a Heisman and going undefeated and what's been done in 2 years, I've been telling everybody, and there's a lot of IU grads, and I work in IPS at our school, I kept saying after we beat down Alabama, I go, if we lose any of these games, I'm still good. I'm going to wake up and be just fine. I wasn't really nervous about the losing part. I wanted to win. I'm like, everything is gravy from here forward. So the fact that we won, it's just, I'm still processing it.
Be processing it for a long time. Daniel, thanks for the phone call. Did you guys see Angelo Pons on social media ripping up the belt and going BTA and putting that out on Twitter last night?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Pons did bring out the belt there. And it looked like Mark Fletcher had an extracurricular towards Tyreek Tucker after the game.
Anybody know what happened there?
Yeah, they didn't ask Fletcher about it afterwards. For those that missed it, Mark Fletcher swung at Tyreek Tucker on the field after the game. I thought those two might have gotten into it during the game. I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing some guys up there. But, yeah, they didn't ask Fletcher about it post-game there. But we did see a little bit of a, Miami players losing their cool, which not too surprising to say the least.
All right, we're going to check the text line in a moment.
I didn't do nothing. That's probably what everyone's going to say in that moment. Yeah, it's on video, brother.
Championship Tuesday rolls on. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
This is the College Football Playoff National Championship.
The handoff goes to Nowakowski. He dives his way to the end zone. Touchdown! And the punt is on. Oh, it's blocked. Oh, that's huge. Blocks it. It is picked up. Touchdown, Indiana. Isaiah Jones. Mendoza ready to take the snap. He takes it. He looks. He throws the football. And he runs it. No, he runs it. And he ties for the end zone. Does he get it in? Touchdown! Beck looks, throws it down the field, and it is intercepted by Indiana. Wow, what a play! And it is Jamari Sharp who comes up with a pick. And the rags to riches story for Indiana football comes to conclusion, and they are the national champions of 2026. What a football team!
Did you ever think this was possible? 1, 2, 3.
There you go. The little national championship wrap right there as the Hoosiers go 16-0. We get some of your feedback here on the fan text line at 239-1070 this morning. Eric in Carmel says, my IU sophomore daughter sent me a picture of the infamous couch fire last night. LOL. I always say, though, those couches are probably, most of them are due to be burned, aren't they, James? That are sitting around dorm rooms?
Possibly. But hey, make sure you ain't stitching on your daughter now, okay? Keep her out of this. Don't implicate any family. I was, this happens to me after every big game. I feel like I stay up reading a lot of whatever anybody's writing on the ground. And Zach Osterman, I believe one of the best, if not the best, IU beat writer out there, he has this line in his story about this run, and he says fans will write it into their memories and their history. Some will write it on their bodies in time. There will be tall tales and where we're used for a program whose entire history told us this would never happen. And I'm like, oh, how beautiful is that? I'm a wordsmith guy, but in all seriousness, knowing that everyone will have like their own little memory of it, this will be one of those, okay, where did you watch this? How did you react type of moments that all of us will kind of bond over in our own unique way.
Well, and I think what's cool, too, about this championship run is the fact that, they played a game right here, a mile down the road in the Big Ten championship. And at that moment, it was the greatest game for a lot of people in program history. For some that were fortunate enough to go, they were able to go to Atlanta for the semifinal game. All of that is not like a guarantee when you go on these runs.
No, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right, but I also mean just like access to like going to these places.
Oh, good point,
It's not a given that Atlanta's a semifinal site every year or something like that. It easily could be whatever, Arizona and Miami and New Orleans, and it's not just hop in your car and it's a 7-hour drive, but still you go there. I come back to Mark's intro, which I know he'll play here again coming up the 9:00 hour, and I found it so fitting from Kurt Cignetti as he's given us typical Cignetti. Break down the game post game. He then breaks stride and he utters that phrase, "It can be done." And to me, that's full circle from him on the mic inside of Assembly Hall. We're not taking a backseat to anybody. Purdue sucks. Michigan sucks. Ohio State sucks. It's him on the set with Dave Rebson at the Big Ten championship game saying, yeah, I might as well, decide to drive up here because we're going to be playing in this game next year. As great of an X's and O's coach as he is, as great of a player developer as he and his staff have been, particularly a quarterback developer, it's the mindset. Like, he walked into that program, and I know Mark laughs every time I bring this up when I try to tell him that he was Hitch, that he was Will Smith from Hitch, and he was like, I've never seen that movie. So it didn't really rain too much when we had Cignetti on last August, but he has brought a cultural shift that was needed more than anything. And we laughed. I laughed at it. I couldn't believe what he was saying, but his mouth to those actions. And it was needed. Like, to me, a coach of Cignetti's acumen, X's and O's, and developer, I don't think they're able to get this done. I think it took a mindset shift. It took him walking into that athletic department saying, what in the world's going on here? Why? This is the Big Ten. Why are we acting like we're some whatever, stepchild, second fiddle, this and that. We need an absolute wake-up call. And if I need to be demonstrative with it, I will. And, Scott Dolson's been on with us, been so gracious with us now twice here in that playoff run, and we've asked Scott about it. That was not something Curt Cignetti had planned when he got off the team plane in Bloomington on his first day on the job. But after observing what was happening in Bloomington, those first handful of hours on the job, he was like, oh my gosh, these people are wilting. These people are acting like the football program's a morgue. Watch this. I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to Bills Mafia it. I'm going to go WWE wrestling style. And he was an absolute prophet in all of that coming to fruition.
Yeah, I was reading through a story last night, you all, where they were ranking some of the more iconic you called your shot moments, and that has to be right up there. I mean, calling out the powerhouse programs in the Big Ten on one of your first days of the job, saying, Google me, I win, and then doing it in 2 years. And, I mean, it would have been one thing to turn IU into a winning program had they won 9 or 10 games. We ought to have been sitting here like, man, that's a good coach, great hire. But they won it all. 16-0. Like, that doesn't happen. And I honestly feel like in this new day and age of college football, it's very rare, Jeff, that we're going to see an undefeated team, period. It's not impossible, but to go 16-0, boy, that takes a lot of things going right for you.
Yeah, Ohio State lost 2 games last year.
Exactly. And, I mean, Miami was one drive away from having the same thing happen and becoming a national champion, with 2 losses. And so to go 16-0, run the table, and just to say we were unblemished, that just adds an extra cherry on top.
A third of your schedule essentially was against top 10 opponents, Kevin, and you still run the table.
I give all the credit to Illinois. They made them believe. We beat them by 50.
By the way, Tyler from Washington is speaking for a lot of people on the text line this morning. Give the people what they really want. We need Stephen Holder on the line.
Wait, Washington at 5:53 in the morning? Man.
Who sleeps after last night?
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Holder in the building last night. You know what? Shout out to the Hurricanes. I didn't think a lot of people, I heard some picks in this studio. Not a lot of people were thinking Miami was going to make that a game. So
no, I did not, truly.
They made that a game. And that defensive line, Jeff, you said it earlier. Boy, would Ruben Bain or Hakeem Mesidor look good in blue and white?
They may be gone before we get an opportunity to check that out.
Mendoza had a couple of those moments where I'm like, oh boy, ball security. I was saying to Maddie, I go, I think the only way Miami truly wins this game is if one of those dudes goes Will Anderson Jr. or Daniil Hunter, and they almost did. Force a strip in that moment, and it ended up, Indiana needed a block punt to win the national championship. That's the reality of where that game was at. That's how dire it was for them. And I'm a firm believer. If they don't get that block punt, I think Miami wins the game.
You know why?
Or the 4th and 5, or the couple of other plays. Yeah, you're right.
I thought this game was not going to be all that close because I figured IU wouldn't allow the big play, and they did. So when when Fletcher breaks that long run,
right.
And it's like,
it was tough
boy.
sledding for him, but
yeah. And so again,
Tony had the big play late.
Exactly, those were the plays. But again, I can't take credit away from Miami because they have great talent, great athletes. And Malachi Tony, I was thinking, boy, he's going to be a problem for years to come. He's a freshman. He's supposed to be a senior in high school. He's doing that on a national championship stage.
And from a local standpoint, shout out to Omar Cooper Jr. The 3rd and 4 where they bring him in motion and he makes that play. There's so much Deebo Samuel to his game and just ability to break tackles. He had that 1st and 20. Indiana got way behind the chains early in the game. And boom, Cooper Jr. breaks a tackle and is able to get a first down there. Shout out to the LN product. I know there's not a lot of indie flavor contributing maybe for Indiana, but shout out to Omar Cooper Jr.
One more quick thing before we go to break here. If you go to Twitter and you look up the Empire State Building account, they have the Empire State Building dressed up in cream and crimson last night, and they say, never daunted. Tonight, our tower lights will shine in cream and crimson for 1 hour to celebrate Indiana football winning the college football playoff national championship. In your life, to borrow from Uncle Vern, would you have ever thought the Empire State Building is lit up in cream and crimson to celebrate a football national championship?
I was going to say, football, the key word there, right?
More in a moment on Championship Tuesday, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Fernando's going to hand the ball off. Here's the snap. The handoff goes to Nowakowski. He dives his way to the end zone. Touchdown! Indiana scores and takes the lead at 9-0. Here's the snap back. Fletcher gets the call, tries to skirt outside and does. He breaks it. He is down the field. He's going to score. A 57-yard by Mark Fletcher Jr. And all of a sudden, Miami right back in this football game in a big way, and momentum has swung pretty dramatically here to start the second half. Back to do the punting is Dylan Joyce, back around his own 2 to take the snap. And it's back to him. And the punt is on. Oh, it's blocked!
Oh, that's huge.
Blocks it. It is picked up. Touchdown, Indiana! Isaiah Jones! And Indiana comes up with a tremendous play, but Kyle Kamara got the block on the kick.
Blocked! Indiana blocks the punt and falls on it for a touchdown!
Here is Beck under center, gets the snap, fakes the handoff, gives it to Fletcher, just walks into the end zone, jogs in, I should say. Mendoza ready to take the snap. He takes it. He looks. He throws the football. And
he runs it.
No, he runs it. And he ties for the end zone. Does he get it in? Touchdown! Fernando Mendoza runs the football and scores.
He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
Fletcher to his right, hits the snap, and there is an end-around play, and they've got Tony again running it for the end zone, touchdown. Here's the snap back. Beck looks, throws it down the field, and it is intercepted by Indiana. Wow, what a play! And it is Jamari Sharp who comes up with a pick.
Beck steps up, delivers downfield, intercepted! Jamari Sharp makes the pick that will clinch Indiana's first national championship.
Here's the snap, and this time they're just going to go down to the ground, and that will do it. And the rags to riches story for Indiana football comes to conclusion, and they are the national champions of 2026. What a football team.
I mean, there's no better group of guys I want to deal with. It's the most special moment of my life. There's such a great group of guys. I love you guys. Great job. Let's go!
Did I ever think something like this was possible? Probably not. But if you keep your nose down in life and keep working, anything is possible. Best fans in America, I know what cheer you like the best. Did you ever think this was possible? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Who, John?
We got all kinds of smiles and emotion out of Kurt Signetti last night. Good morning, everyone. Championship Tuesday. Mark Dykton, great job again. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, I'm Jeff Rickard, and all of you on the fan text line and the phone lines at 239-1070. We've been talking about it for 2 hours. We can go on all day. We will go on all day. Jake will be here at noon. JMV is off today. Greg Rakestraw will have you from 3 to 6 because JMV is not only recovering, but will probably be in the air as well. Is there what have we not said already that we need to continue to say other than just bask in it? Just feel it. Just let it wash over if you're an Indiana sports fan.
Bathe in it, right?
Yeah.
You got to bathe in it. Or maybe you haven't bathed yet, but you've been up all night. KB, I have a question. So I'm watching some of these videos from Bloomington last night, and I feel like there should be like a little disclaimer at the bottom saying you should probably not do this because you're not a professional athlete.
If you are a parent, please don't watch.
Yeah. Have you ever been compelled to climb anything after a big win? Because those people, I'm like, I want to feel that euphoria without the danger, though.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I'll probably start here. I'm not a big heights guy to begin with. But yeah, the kid on the Jimmy John sign, and like, then hearing the people underneath him like, "Jump, man, we'll catch you. Trust me."
No,
I was like, you know what? I mean, I guess I do respect the teamwork there. You know, it's very reminiscent of Kurt Signetti. I feel like, but yeah, it was Kirkwood was filled to the absolute brim last night. Shout out to everybody in Bloomington, and yeah, I mean the days of it. Used to be we've never lost a tailgate are long, long gone. Trust me, they still can tailgate pretty well down there. But That is a real football program, to use Nick Saban's lingo there, even though Nick Saban, I saw, did not pick Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers last night. But what a freaking story. And, I guess I'll go back to what I said earlier in the show. The dream for so many IU football fans, as wild as it sounds, is just like, why can't we be Minnesota?
Right. Just not
Why
terrible.
Why can't we somehow, some way, win 7 games every other year, go to the frickin' Motor City Bowl? We'll all drive up to Detroit. We'll spend the night in Windsor, and then we'll hopefully watch our team beat, Ball State out of the MAC or Toledo out of the MAC, and hope that we get to 7 or 8 wins. Like, that was the dream. It was never this. It was never.
You mean to tell me the Pop-Tart Bowl wasn't the peak
for
you?
Yeah, deserve a shot at Marcus Freeman right there. It was the realistic dream was never arguably the greatest story in college sports history, and one of the greatest stories, period, in sports history. It is the greatest turnaround, obviously, in college football history. And I think that's the astonishing element to me. It's like, be on your knees to pray that PJ Fleck would come to your program and ignite things. And instead, it's, wait a minute, you beat Ohio State in your own backyard for the Big Ten championship game. Wait a minute, your first bowl win since 1991 is going to be in the Rose Bowl, and you're going to beat Alabama out of the SEC by 30, whatever it was, 32 points, and then you're going to dismantle Oregon again, and then you're going to the national championship game, and you're not going to have your best stuff. You're going to have to win left-handed. The Heisman Trophy winner's not going to have this banner day throwing the football. He's going to get hit. The officiating's not going to go your way. Your future NFL left tackle is going to have a massive false start penalty when the game's on the line. Your sure-handed top wideout is going to have his first drop in eons. Yet you find a way. They found a way with a tight end on a fullback dive, a block punt when your defense was out on the field and they only rushed 3, with Charlie Becker, who didn't even catch a ball for, the first half of the season, seemingly. That's how you're going to get it done on the biggest stage. Jamari Sharp wouldn't have been at the top of the list either.
Another Miami guy.
That, to me, defines so much of what this Indiana program is under Curt Cignetti.
Matt Norlander, who covers college football for CBS, had posted a tweet that showed 2 different angles of Mendoza airborne as he goes into the end zone, and it was retweeted by Aiden Fisher, who just says, "Hang it in the Louvre." We need to see like a Lucas Oil Stadium sized poster of that leap into the end zone on some building in Bloomington, don't we?
I said it last night. Put it right next to the Bob Knight chair throw as iconic images in Indiana sports.
For sure.
Not the Keith Smart shot.
All of them.
I was going to say that one as well.
Oh, it is so much fun to share Championship Tuesday with all of you, and you can continue to hit us up on the text line at 239-1070. Indy Finisher says, "What did the little Mendoza boys say after Fernando scored on the 4th and 5?" I'm not sure. What did his younger brother say?
I think they just screamed his name. I listened to the broadcast. The little
Max
brother had
Mendoza, right?
Yeah,
he had the.
You're not talking about Alberto. You're talking about little
little
guy.
He
had like the mic clipped to his hoodie, and he's like, "Mendoza!" He's going nuts with his family. So it looks like here I'm actually on Twitter scrolling around, and according to Wish TV's Anthony Calhoun, there's a press conference with Coach Cignetti and the players here set for about 9 a.m. So they might be talking right now. And could you imagine having to talk some more about this game?
No.
You probably didn't sleep.
No, I don't think there's enough ibuprofen or, water to throw on the face or deodorant or anything to make you be up there. Mark, go ahead and play this audio. This was Fernando Mendoza. Mark, this was Scott Van Pelt, correct?
Yes, last night after the game.
And hopefully this audio will come through pretty good. But I thought this was the most descriptive Mendoza was around the play call. And again, just to set it up, we're talking a 4th and 5. We're talking Indiana up 3 with 9 minutes to go. I don't know how you guys felt. I didn't think it was a must-go situation. I would have been totally fine if Cignetti would have kicked there, stretch it to 6, and continue to kind of play the game from there. Obviously, he takes a timeout. I think the field goal unit at one point was on the field, and we'll let Fernando Mendoza describe the rest.
Said that there was a coverage they put in just for this, and you were banking on them being there. And then when you come out and it's go time. What all is happening in that play as you're absorbing all these different shots and hanging on? I mean, what do you remember about the moment?
Yeah, so we call it the quarterback draw, and we were hoping they did their 2 Tampa drop 8, where they basically kind of like defended the front line, it being 4th and 5, and us liking to throw the ball in the red zone. We were anticipating them, hey, let's drop back, let's make Mendoza throw in a tight window to one of his stud receivers, which, is a good thought. However, they didn't come out in that. They came out of kind of like something that was like a little bit of that, a little bit of not, and we were just like, okay, play clock rolling down, and I'm like, screw it, here we go. I'm clapping. I see like half the field goal in zone, half the field goal man, and I'm like, wow, like, if it's man, I'm supposed to throw it. If it's zone, I'm supposed to run it. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to die on that field, and we got in.
So hold on. So it was an option for you. That was nearly a throw?
Nearly a throw. It was a very similar play. It was basically the same exact play we won when we came back at Autzen Stadium at Oregon.
Okay. But
I love that.
I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to down that field. He said that phrase, down the field, so many times, and I'm like, brother, you are immortal now. Like, there is no dying here. This is not how this movie ends. But, yeah, the wherewithal to stay upright even after you got the first down. And I thought, honestly, Kevin, you pointed out earlier in the show, when Sig called that timeout, I was thinking, this is some horrible clock management here.
Awful.
Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But in his mind, to him, that was the game. It was, we're not getting the ball back, so let's just go ahead and make sure we get the right play call in here. So obviously it works out, so no one's going to complain about it. But boy, I was thinking, man, you have coached your butt off to this point. And I thought he might have, and it's still, Miami had a chance, but I was thinking, man, you might have left the door open a little bit too soon. But hey, it doesn't matter now. You're a champ.
And if you're the Raiders brass, and for those not following that story, the Las Vegas Raiders in Miami yesterday to A, interview Mike McDaniel, B, watch Fernando Mendoza, the, I guess, expected number 1 overall pick for them. So there is Tom Brady. There's Mark Davis on the sideline. For those that have not followed the Fernando Mendoza story, he's made it very clear his football idol is Tom Brady. And, I asked you guys at different points throughout the last 10 days, how do you think Fernando Mendoza will play? There was a lot. The Miami angle for him. Did you hear Mendoza crack a little bit for him post-game, mentioning them not taking him as a walk-on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was a lot on his shoulders, more than just playing for a national title. And not that Mendoza, I didn't think he was wildly inaccurate, but it was obviously a tough game from a passing standpoint. But you hear him describe that. Bleeps hitting the fan. Play clock's winding down.
Yeah.
Are you going to make a play? And that play needed to be more backyard. And shout out to Pat Coogan. It's a hell of a block on Justin Scott to pave that early way. But then Mendoza just takes a freaking hit on a night where he had been hit the most all season. And then he treats it at the goal line like they're down 4 and it's 4th and goal and there's 12 seconds on the clock. He didn't need to do. I was like, did he fumble? I got a little nervous there when the hit happened at the goal line.
When
there.
he was walking back to the sideline, I was like, is he okay?
Right. Is he going to get up from this?
I don't know if there was and maybe I'm just misremembering things, but I believe there's a moment on the sideline where he's walking and he kind of
a little dizzy.
Yeah, and I was like, are you good? Is he going to be on the next drive? But as he said, he's going to down that field. I'm glad he's alive.
He has that in him. And I'll be the first one to admit, I probably don't give him enough credit for that because he doesn't wear it in the post-game press conference. He's not this rugged, tough, no, it's these eloquent words, and it's a kid
will say this,
that's totally, in tune with his feelings and not afraid to share his emotions and all of that. But when that chin strap gets strapped up, that dude's got some dog in him.
I'll add this. I think he's very self-aware in a way that most college athletes and young people just aren't. Because listening to him in his post-game press conference, he was talking about how he dropped the F-bomb live on national television. He was like, well, yeah, you hear people talk about you, and I'm very media trained. And he was like, I let the, quote, floodgates kind of open a little bit. So there is something there. And I think that sort of run, and really the moments he's had this year, let's keep in mind, he got popped very early in that game and was probably bleeding the rest of the game from his mouth. Those moments, I think, make everyone else around you stand up a little bit straighter, get a little more conviction in what you're able to do.
Yeah.
And
Caden
I think that
Curry
also
hitting them on the first play of the Big Ten
exactly, and I think that'll also carry over to the NFL. Now, I don't want to look too far ahead. You want to enjoy this moment, but when he steps into an NFL locker room, I think that sort of display that you had in college, granted you have to do it again in the NFL, I think that already gives you some good currency to stand on at the next level.
In the fourth quarter, Indiana converts twice on fourth down. They had one conversion in the fourth quarter entering the game. Mendoza's 12-yard touchdown run, his first TD on fourth down all season long. He was pressured only once on 8 dropbacks in the fourth quarter. He was 2 for 2 on back shoulder fades in the fourth quarter. Indiana also chipped in on special teams, obviously, with the block punt and the touchdown, but he played his best football when the game was on the line, to your point.
Charlie B. from Tennessee. You think back both those plays. What was it, 4th and 4, maybe the first one, 3rd and 7, the other one? Those were plays strictly for Charlie Becker. Those were not these slow developing, hey, let's get through our progression and it's the 3rd or the 4th read. No. Those were back shoulder balls, highly contested situations where you had to rely on Charlie Becker. And that Charlie Becker story, shout out to Tom Allen and that coaching staff. That's a Tom Allen recruit. That's a guy with a heavy track background that, again, the Surratt injury throughout this season, I think has opened the door to him. Now, him and Fernando Mendoza, I think their friendship, for those unfamiliar, they live with each other. That probably has a little bit at play here, but man, those plays. Indiana converted, I believe in the fourth quarter, it was a 4th and 5, a 4th and 4, 3rd and 7, and a 3rd and 4. I mean, if you want to analytic that up, those are all coin flips against that defense, against that D line, and they converted all 4 of them. They don't convert. If they convert 3 of them,
it's tough.
We're probably talking about a different result. It's amazing how when the game was on the line, on a night when they didn't have their 98-mile-per-hour fastball, they still found a way.
Like many folks, getting a lot of texts from people like Greg and Avon, who said, got tickets 25 minutes from game time, second row, corner of the IU end zone, right there for all the action from the Mendoza quarterback sneak to the field goal doink. Great investment in our Hoosier memories. And maybe at the beginning of the game, that doinked field goal was a harbinger of things to come, James.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, boy.
Wait, can I hear more about this dude getting tickets 25 minutes before kickoff?
He's got a picture of him and his wife sitting in those chairs 25 minutes from game time.
I want to know,
is that a purchase or is someone sick, had to bow out here?
You can't bow out of that, right? There's no way. I did read about the ticket prices and all of that, and from what The Athletic reported, it was the most expensive ticket on average in the college football playoff era. So from that perspective, I don't know if that guy might have tried to wait it out. Sometimes if you wait, it'll drop. But nevertheless, anybody who had a chance to experience that moment, that was really cool. And selfishly, Kevin, I thought about some of your students and how cool it is that they had that opportunity. I'm like, man, one of them, I want to say Joe Cronin, he was interviewing Lil Uzi Vert.
No, I saw that for Joe.
Who was there for Fernando Mendoza. And I'm thinking to myself, like, one, hilarious that was even a real thing because that felt like an alternate reality. And then 2, Lil Uzi Vert, who was older than Joe, said that Joe and his buddy who they were doing the interview with said they looked like unks in their suits. And I thought that was funny as well.
Shout out to Ben Holler, former student of mine,
Yeah.
Reds fan. He was on the play-by-play call for WIUX.
That was great.
And also a shout out to Cluster Truck. Thank you, Evan Sherrill, for the delivery on this Tuesday morning. The Bowen family enjoyed the tailgate special last night.
Look at that.
Couple large pizzas.
Any leftovers, or
2
did you
pounds of
take it
chicken
all?
strips. There are some leftovers, so I'll be very frustrated if I get home today and they've somehow been packed for their kids' lunch to school. Please, Maddie.
School?
Please.
Nobody's going to school today.
Please leave those.
School's canceled.
Max was on top of the Jimmy John sign in Bloomington last night.
How'd he get there?
I'm not going to lie, Mark. I don't know if you feel this way, but once you have kids, those videos hit a little different.
Yes, they do.
I'm like, damn, that's somebody's daughter out there. That's somebody's son out there. Holy
Yeah, I was
shit.
watching kids jump off the roof of some establishment in Bloomington into the bushes. And I'm like, man, that cannot feel good. It might feel good in the moment because you got your liquor armor on probably. But today, you're not feeling that great.
I'm going to take the mindset my parents had. Like, go have fun. Don't tell me about it.
Yeah, my parents never FaceTime me, very rarely. So I think they get peace of mind, especially being in college, that they just knew, like, well, if we don't see it, we can't worry about it.
Just text me and call me once a day. Let me know things are okay. That's
Mark,
all I want.
I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Best I don't know.
Elliot writes in, let the dynasty begin. Odds makers already have IU as one of the leading contenders to win the national championship again next year. How sweet it is. And I thought it was interesting watching Scott Van Pelt and Reese Davis talk about this after the game last night, where they saying Indiana's not, maybe it was Herb Street, said Indiana's not going away. It doesn't mean they're going to win 4 of the next 5 national championships, but they're not going away. They're going to be around. they're going to be in the conversation and in the mix moving forward. I think it's interesting that when you only lose 2 games your first 2 seasons and you go undefeated at 16-0 and win a national championship, got a lot of believers in Indiana now, don't you, Kevin?
Josh Hoover era, right? For those that have missed it here, early on this Tuesday morning, reports already out there, and I think this is kind of known, but Alberto Mendoza into the transfer portal. So Josh Hoover, the quarterback from TCU, will be your starter there, and we'll find a new backup. And I think their strength coach I saw is going to Tennessee. So, a little bit of a, hey, when success comes to your program, some of the stuff happens here, but none of that is going to diminish anything whatsoever in what is one of the greatest sports stories we've ever seen.
Got a picture of Aaron from Venice, Florida, and his son, James, got tickets 2 minutes after kickoff. At 4 o'clock, they were $4,000 each. We paid $2,250 each. Drove 3 hours, home rolled in at 4 a.m., now on his way to work.
Gosh, man.
Oh, that's real.
These people are insane.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Also,
time for a check down?
Yeah, in a second. But James Duncan says Sig's yelling at the huddle before 4th and 5 is also a picture that will be in Hoosier man caves for the rest of human life. What a night. Makes going to work early a little easier. But, yeah, just going for it on that 4th down. Again, putting all of his trust in his guys and saying, go win the football game, guys.
You walk by the Purdue cubicles a little bit more than you normally would on a day like today, do you not?
Do we see Todd Meyer today?
You just, oh boy, John from Lebanon. I fancy seeing you here. How was your 3-day weekend?
Your guys' neighborhoods light up like the 4th of July like mine did last night? There's fireworks going off, gunshots.
Oh, really?
No. Oh, yeah.
Gunshots.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, jeez.
All right, let's check it down,
I want
Mark.
to be in your neighborhood, brother.
Nice transition to the check down, Mark.
Morning Checkdown, brought to you by the Barbasol Horizon League Basketball Championships. March starts here. The Barbasol Horizon League Basketball Championships with NCAA tournament bids on the line, May 8th through 10th. Tickets and more at horizonleague.com/Indy.
All right, the Hoosiers win it all, 16-0 on the season in Miami last night. They beat the Miami Hurricanes 27-21 to win the national championship. Guys, in their 3 playoff games, they outscored their opponents, even though it was a closer one last night, 121-46. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first 2 games certainly takes the cake there, but, I think part of a champion is you're not always going to have your best stuff. How do you react to it? And I'll continue to go back to the block punt. I mean, that's a play where first off the tackle on Malachi Toney to get it to 4th and 1, and then what does Indiana do? They leave their starting defense out there. They play punt safe, and Mikhail Kamara, a guy that I think has had a quieter year than he had last year, he busts his you-know-what on a play where a lot of guys, I think, can kind of take that play off and say, yeah, I'm just out here in case you fake it. And no. He rushed, and number 87 for Miami half-assed it, and that play without that play, maybe 4th and 5 for Fernando Mendoza never happens.
Yeah, 5 minutes, 4 seconds remaining in the third quarter. IU is up 10-7 at that point in time. Here's Don Fisher.
Back to do the putting is Dylan Joyce. Back around his own 2 to take the snap. And it's back to him. And the punt is on. Oh, it's blocked!
Oh, that's huge.
Blocks it. It is picked up. Touchdown, Indiana! Isaiah Jones! And Indiana comes up with a tremendous play. Mikhail Kamara got the block on the kick.
That's another one I've watched probably 10 or 15 times. And sometimes you get that funny roll of the football. It fell right into the right hands at the right time, and nobody else was even close.
Yeah, but again, I'm such a big believer you create your own luck.
Yeah.
And they created that moment. And certainly the ball, it bounced Indiana's way a whole lot this season. But, when you play to the standard and the amount of discipline that they play to, you get that. How many 3rd down penalties did Miami have last night?
Too many.
James, you brought it up. Delay of game after the kickoff on the final drive of the game. I mean, that is just...
Also, I don't think Mario Cristobal breaking his headset helped in that moment either.
No. Maddie was like, how much is that, Stafford getting paid to put that headset back together at that moment of the game? Not enough.
My goodness. And then, still 27-21, Hoosiers up 6. Miami has one final chance, 44 seconds to go. And here's Carson Beck looking for something downfield.
Here's the snapback. Beck looks, throws it down the field, and it is intercepted by Indiana. Wow, what a play! And it is Jamari Sharp who comes up with a pick.
I love the fact, too, Don Fisher was so good last night on every key moment. He met the moment, and he didn't lose his mind at any point in time. It was amazing to hear him do his thing.
Can we just give Don the day off, or is he really on a plane right now to call IU Michigan tonight?
I think that's what he wants to be doing, though, isn't it?
Can we just carry him back to Bloomington?
A little bit of an emotional difference, I would say.
Slightly different. 15.5-point underdog, the Hoosiers tonight. Purdue at UCLA, that's 10 o'clock. On Peacock, we'll see about Braden Smith's knee. Butler back at home with DePaul.
Yeah, and Indiana Pacers losing last night in Philadelphia, 113-104. They will play in Boston tomorrow, and we'll see if they can get something going there as well. James, anything else you want to throw in before we move to break here?
Nah, just riding high on these championship vibes here.
James, all 4 head coaching hires, previous head coaches, is that right, so far in the NFL?
Yes.
I think we've seen 180s in almost every place. Offense, defense, veteran not, et cetera, et cetera. So for those that missed it late last night, Tennessee going with Robert Saleh. So the Cam Ward era will have Robert Saleh. I believe him and Liam Cohen don't see eye to eye. So nice little rivalry he'll add to the AFC South.
All right. Also, the Dolphins hired Jeff Hafley yesterday. Championship Tuesday with the Indiana Hoosiers continues next. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Take the snap. He takes it. He looks. He throws the football. And
he runs it.
No, he runs it. And he ties for the end zone. Does he get it in? Touchdown! Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, Fernando Mendoza. I'll take that touchdown. We'll take the national championship. We'll take running the table in the Big Ten. We'll take knocking out Ohio State. Telling Oregon twice to get off our front porch. Telling Alabama to just take their tail and stick between their legs and go on back home to the South. All those things. I'm here for all of it, James Boyd. And to borrow a page from you, man, I'm here to be petty about it for some of those programs, too.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I
get off the front porch. I haven't used that one in a while. I might need to.
I haven't felt much pettiness over the last few weeks. I'm mainly just enjoying the ride. And again, this wasn't Cinderella. It feels like that from a historical standpoint, but this team was a juggernaut all year. And looking back at it, it's crazy to think that Penn State gave them their toughest test. And here they are, however many weeks later, still undefeated, raising a banner soon, I would think, for that championship. And just crazy enough. I mean, Fernando Mendoza, Kurt Signetti, build the statues today if you can.
Man, it's so much fun to watch. And I still go back to, and I know Alabama is really more probably name brand than they were actually a really good football team this year. They had their ups and downs. A lot of people, Kevin, wondering why they were even in the college football playoff as opposed to your Notre Dame team, as a matter of fact, if you want to go back there. But they were dispatched easily.
Imagine if I went on a 20-minute rant about
it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
James, you bring up the Penn State game and, the Omar Cooper Jr. catch. But if you remember that final drive, Mendoza got sacked on first down. Clock's running. They got to a second, I think it was second and 17, second 18, something like that. And that's kind of one of those what-if moments in a season. Like, okay, the odds of you picking up second and 18 are what, 20%? Let's say you don't pick that up. You lose that game. How does that change things?
Changes everything.
But yet, I think it was Cooper, if I'm not mistaken, on that initial play there down the seam. And then they drive all the way down there. Obviously, Cooper makes the catch that goes down in history. And, what did that do for them? Because I think that game was that was a mediocre Penn State team, obviously, record-wise. Their backup quarterback's in there. In the grand scheme of it, there are bigger wins. But for Indiana, the fact that they had to play that type of game in November, a November where they rolled all those other teams, I feel like that was a really critical moment in them just kind of proving something to themselves, if you can there. And then obviously you get into a similar situation with Ohio State and you make those plays. And boy, the Charlie Becker plays against Ohio State and the Charlie Becker plays last night.
Even the one where he almost scored last night, I was thinking, that's another example of IU playing at a slightly higher level and being more disciplined. Because if you go look at the tape of that play, the defensive back, I don't know his name, that came up to try to tackle him initially, gave zero effort because apparently he might have thought the other guy had him. But I was like, dude, it's a national championship and you're not tackling. You're not form tackling. That's the type of stuff that it comes back to bite you, man.
There was a moment pregame, and this was, I think, when he first got in the stadium. Kurt Signetti and Mark Cristobal both did, interviews with the sideline reporters, before kickoff. This is aired on game day 2 hours before the game starts. And Signetti's answering a question to Holly Rowe, and he's very coach speaky throughout the answer. But then he ends it with two kind of emphatic words, or stressing of the words, I should say, in saying we have to be consistent and we have to be disciplined. And when I think back to the block punt, that to me defines consistent and discipline. That is a play where so many guys on the defensive side of the football, they take that play off. Oh, I'm only out here if they fake the punt. As soon as that ball is hiked and I see the punter's getting ready to punt, I'm not going after that. I just played the previous three plays. I'm tired. I'm not risking an offsides penalty. I'm not risking a running into the punter penalty or roughing the kicker, however you want to call it. And yet in that moment, Mikael Kamara looks at it as a time to pounce, a time to attack. And that's your All-American defensive end. That's not some walk-on that's just happy to be out there on special teams and is busting his you-know-what. And that play we don't get to Mendoza doing Superman without that play. And, that's one that, should live in lore. I understand it won't, but it should be right up there.
Any close game, it always comes down to who made more plays. And certainly with the game on the line, I'll go back to something that I pointed out a little while ago. In the fourth quarter, Indiana twice converts fourth downs. Mendoza gets the 12-yard rushing touchdown. That was one of them. That's his first touchdown on a fourth down all season long. He only had one. He was only pressured once, James, on 8 dropbacks in the fourth quarter, and he was 2 for 2 on those back shoulder fades. And then we talk about the blocked punt as well. They made the big plays at the big times in that fourth quarter constantly.
Yeah, better team overall, tougher team. Mentally tougher, and I think the mental side is what got him over the edge as well. We talk about all the things that you do to prepare yourself for that moment. I mean, that's probably every single weight room session you don't want to be bothered with, or the extra film you watch. And then what I loved about it is when you just had to have a championship moment, Fernando Mendoza gave you one there to give you that cushion late. So I don't think anybody can really be too upset about this. I thought about this as well, Kevin. Losing Stephen Daly and knowing how much he would have probably wished to have been out there, or really would have been feeling guilty had they not pulled this off. I thought about him last night. I was thinking, man, I wish he would have been a part of that, being out there, but seeing his other guys step up, that had to be a good feeling, knowing, okay, yeah, I'll be able to get healthy, but I get a national championship as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I mean, I think you missed a little bit of Daly last night. I thought that was probably the one aspect to Indiana that they didn't do a good enough job on, was the lack of a pass rush. Even that final play, I mean, I don't put that necessarily on the pass rush. I just think Carson Beck made a really poor decision and a poor throw there in that moment. But, overcome that Daly injury as well.
All right, 239-1070 is the number to call. You want to get in on the text line. We'll take a quick break here. We'll wrap it all up for our show. They'll be talking about it all day long on ESPN Radio. They'll be talking about it all day long on Jake's show. Greg Rakestraw in for John today. If you're going to have anybody in for John, I think you'd agree, JB, Greg is the guy to have today, right?
Absolutely, Mr. Indiana.
All right, we'll take a quick time out. More in a moment. Championship Tuesday rolls on. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
It took a lot to get here, but I'll tell you what it took to come out ahead in this game was a lot of guts. I give Miami a lot of credit. They played really hard. We couldn't get anything done couldn't protect the quarterback at all. Made a few plays and adjustments, but they were back shoulders and a sprint out, got the ball, run game going. Made the interception when we had to. A couple fourth down, where we went for it. Mendoza, great run. Took some chances, found a way. Let me tell you, we won the national championship at Indiana University. It can be done. We are the champions, my friends. And we'll keep on fighting.
Not Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana in the Big Ten, who rips off their third straight national championship, SEC. Michigan a couple of years ago, Ohio State last year, Indiana currently. And I don't drink a lot, fellas, as you know. I am going to have some Hoosier beer from Upland Brewery tonight.
Oh, look at this.
I want some drunk texts and tweets from Jeff.
I am just a very happy everybody's best friend drunk guy.
We might need you tomorrow, Mark, it sounds like.
Mark will be like, have another one. It's all good stuff. It's great stuff. Thanks for everybody for contributing this morning. We continue to go through the text line. We continue to take phone calls if you'd like to do it that way. So many people wanting. I'm getting a lot of, how many Hoosiers can we get on the Colts next year, Kevin? A lot of people checking in with that this morning.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see some declarations. D'Angelo Pons is a guy that I think I know measurables will hurt him at the next level. I would take that dude on my team every day of the week. That dude is just a football player. Yes, I get a lot of Kenny Moore vibes from him. And he had some big moments. One of the plays I thought was when Pons just legally hit the Miami tight end down the sideline, jarring what could have been a really big play for Miami loose. It's textbook fundamentals. It's teach tape stuff from him on a night where I thought the officiating was questionable. Pons left no doubt in that he was in line in exactly what he was trying to do there. Always plays bigger than his size. And I think
rocked that dude.
I'm curious, on that final play, James, the timeout by Cignetti before, which, again, could have been, I think, heavily debated at the time. Like, oh my gosh, you're not going to leave your offense a timeout. But he wanted to regroup that defense. I wonder if the conversation in Miami's huddle was about, we're not testing Pons. We're not going to that side of the field. They went opposite side of the field. Poor throw, poor decision. Jamari Sharp makes a great play. I'm curious if that was, because I think Pons has earned that. Dante Moore certainly would agree, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at the amount of unsuccessful attempts they had towards Pons, I wouldn't want to go there either. And it was funny seeing them cut to his dad after every big play. And that has to be a great feeling as a parent when, and I was a high school sports reporter for a few years, and I'll be the first to tell you on these airwaves, I love all of you out there, but a lot of parents are a little bit delusional about their kid and how good they are. But it must be a great feeling to know your kid is actually as good as you think, because the entire country is seeing it. I mean, his son will play in the NFL one day. And just to clarify for those wondering, because I got this question a lot after the game as well, fellas, Charlie Becker cannot declare for the draft. I believe he's only a sophomore.
Yeah.
So he's got at least one more year in Bloomington before he goes pro, and he looks like he can play on Sundays too.
There are a lot of people on the text line.
Imagine that being a serious question a month ago, 2 months ago. Like people asking if Charlie Becker,
Late
guy
September,
that, didn't even catch a ball in the first Oregon game, and that being a real question.
Was that not one of the biggest blessing in disguise?
Yes,
the Elijah Sawat injury, because you don't know that this guy is that. I mean, my goodness, what was he doing in practice? Boy, every single big play he had to make, he did. And I even thought the one, I believe it was the second fourth down, the throw Fernando made actually wasn't one of his best. The one of them he threw outside toward the sideline, and I thought that was a better throw. The second one he threw inside, and Charlie just went and found the ball. And I think that is a skill that you can't necessarily teach. You can teach technique, but sometimes you just got to go get the ball. He did it.
There are a lot of people on the text line this morning that a couple, I should say, that were saying that he gives them Alec Pierce vibes. Just speed, makes catches,
We'll also
contested
get more
catches.
Wes Welker.
Man.
Can we go with some more slot wideouts?
Every white wide receiver that's ever played. Wayne Corbett, let's go.
Yeah, I don't want to go that far.
All of a sudden, Jeff's going to tell us he's the next Ed McCaffrey.
Nah, I did think about that. I was
He's
like,
bad.
boy,
I think
am I like, stereotyping this dude? But to be fair, the 50-50 ball nature of how they both play does remind me of each other.
Well, and to take it a step further, what was one of the biggest plays of the Colts season this year? I know the game didn't end in a win. Back shoulder, Alec Pierce in Seattle.
I think that's where people get the comparison.
When you have the go ball, which they both have shown the ability to do, now the next is, hey, if they're going to sit on that go ball, if they're going to put a safety over the top, can you make the back shoulder? And really with how Miami's offensive line was, or how their defensive line, I should say, was wrecking the game, I don't think the opportunity was there to have Becker, do his go ball thing.
Right.
It was, hey, you got to back shoulder it, and he's got to make a play. And he certainly did that twice in the fourth quarter.
I will think of him almost Lynn Swan-like. And remember, I'm trying to remember exactly when it was. He goes for a touchdown over the middle. He goes way up in the air to grab a ball that otherwise might have been contested. And he just made tough catch after tough catch once he finally cracked the lineup and got in there after the injury to Surratt. And you see him in the interviews afterwards. You see him on social media. He looks young, too. Like he's got that baby face going on right now, right?
For sure.
Very
Man.
Julian Edelman-esque, very Wes Welker, very Hunter Renfrow.
Austin Collie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the touchdown reception against Alabama when he goes up high to bring it down right over the middle. He's got great hands. He runs great routes. He's got speed. He's got a great future in front of him, and he'll be back. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Omar Cooper Jr., Carter. I thought I saw Carter Smith maybe announce that he was coming back. He was the tackle that, boy, he almost had the penalty that would be remembered for quite a while in Bloomington. But I thought he said he might come back, and he's probably one of the more highly ranked NFL draft prospects there. But yeah, for those that missed it this morning, Alberto Mendoza into the transfer portal. For anyone that's followed along, that's not shocking at all. I know. When you pay a quarterback, $4 million reportedly or whatever it is for the TCU quarterback to come out of TCU to be your starter, Alberto Mendoza is probably going to portal it up. I thought I saw Georgia Tech rumored for him.
Anonymous phone texter, just haven't provided the name yet, says, just took my kids to school. The sign-in sheet, James, about 30 to 40 deep with late arrivals. The reason on that little column over there, all of them just say IU.
So that wasn't a late start either.
Excused.
I'm dead serious when I say, well, I can't say this. I don't have children yet, but I'm like, Mark just said, I mean, why would you take your kids to school? I mean, obviously you have to work, but if you ain't got to work, I mean, them kids ain't going to school.
They can still get something done today.
Absolutely not. Nobody's focused.
You want to save the day off if they have a parade, don't you?
Nobody is focused.
They can watch the All 22.
There is not a teacher in Indiana who's actually teaching today. This is one of those, and I don't know if they still do this. Maybe I'm dating myself a little bit for our younger crowd, but roll the big TV stand out there. You put on some, Martin Luther King Jr. Day was yesterday. Put on some documentary about him or something, or whatever, some cartoon, whatever you want to do.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
There you go. And what's the other one? Like Little House Rock or whatever. Like
Schoolhouse Rock.
There you go. Put that on.
Can't you teach about the game? Let's put up the box scores and let's add some things up.
Hey, there you go.
Professor Bowen, if you had classes this week, what would it look like?
Maddie Bowen text Max to her this morning. If I eat my breakfast, I will get big and play football and win a champion trophy.
Nice.
That means he's getting in your chicken tenders and pizza right now.
And he adds this. He goes, and if I fall down, the whistle guys will help me up. There's 2 whistle guys. The whistle guys maybe didn't blow those whistles as much as IU fans would have liked there.
Max, you got to get a little more meat on those bones for you to take some shots like Mendoza did last night.
Shout out to Cluster Truck for that. But yeah, I mean, I'll just end with this. I mean, it just, again, I know it's kind of corny, but, I come back to that Bubba Watson quote quite often when we get these sports moments of Bubba saying to Jim Nance in the Butler cabin after winning the Masters. He's stumbling through his words, and he says to him, sorry, Jim, I'd never got here in my dreams. Like, if you are a realistic IU football fan, you never got to last night in your dreams. It was, can we just win a couple bucket games? It was, what's the path to 6 wins? How do you schedule your way into a bowl? That was the dream, and yet, largely one man changed so much of that. And I think with mindset more than X's and O's and development. Kurt Cignetti's mindset. Somebody finally did agree with me on my Will Smith Hitch analogy, so thank you for that. But that mindset, and Mark, we can probably clip it for tomorrow. I saw you had a quote this morning at the final press conference about like a paradigm shift. And like that's pretty much what I'm getting at. You know, he walked in there and said, screw this. This is not a morgue. This is a Big Ten football program. Let's start acting like we are. And he ignited that with fires that, frankly, you saw up and down Kirkwood last night.
Like I said, Couch is going to that next great couch place in the sky. Indiana right now, guys, finish this up. There was an ESPN graphic today. Indiana is a co-favorite alongside Ohio State at DraftKings Sportsbook right now to win the 2026 national championship. The odds plus 700. To put that in perspective, when this past season started, the Hoosiers were plus 100. I hope somebody put like $100 or $1,000 down on that somewhere, Kevin Bowen.
Yeah, they were plus 1,000, right? They weren't plus 100.
Plus
to start
1,000,
this past
yes.
year. Plus
I
100
left
would
a
be
zero out.
insane odds there. So.
Yeah, plus 1,000. Thank you. But
I did have a friend. She bet big. Well, not bet big, but she cashed in a great bet. You know, put 15 down for the Hoosiers to win a national championship, go undefeated, win the Big Ten Conference, all those things, and came out with 5,500.
Nice.
How about that?
Nice work. Mark, great job this morning, man. Thanks
you.
for keeping it rolling back there, putting some great highlights and sound together. Kevin Bowen, you're terrific as always. Love picking your brain. James, great job out of you.
Save the best for last.
We got Jake at noon. Greg Rakestraw in for JMV.